We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
What's up, freaks and geeks, and welcome to episode 12 of the Geekcentric podcast. My name is Justin, and today I'm hosting our galactic-size episode as we talk about all things Star Wars. With the release of The Rise of Skywalker this weekend, we are ready to dive in and share our thoughts about the final film in the Skywalker saga. But first, if you're joining us for the first time, this is a weekly podcast covering the world of film, television, gaming, toys, collectibles, and all things geek-centric. Joining me for today's episode, we have the moof milking man-child himself, Nate Shelton.
What's up, you moof milkers? Moof milkers in the house.
To his right, we have Kevin Droopy McCool Hudson.
Sorry, I was just suckling on Nate's teeth.
Droopy McCool.
Yeah, what's Droopy McCool?
It's a Kitanak alien from Star Wars, and his name is Droopy McCool, and he's actually like a musician. I think he was in Jabba's palace.
Isn't he like the blue guy? Is he the blue guy? Or
No, it's not
that's
the blue
Max.
guy.
That's
Yeah,
that's Max Rebo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not the furry little wow, 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 wow.
Now, as I mentioned, this episode is entirely dedicated to Star Wars, which means no news, no trailers, and all Star Wars.
All Star Wars, all the time.
All the time. Also, just as a quick disclaimer, this episode is going to be filled with spoilers.
Spoiler.
That's a good one.
That's the best sound in
think
Star
that-
Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I love
absolutely.
that sound.
Yeah. So, yes, this episode's going to contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, then stop listening and come back once you have. This way we can talk more freely, and that way we don't have Nate prefacing every time he says something, spoiler. Okay, so guys, how are we?
Doing really good.
Are we like super, I think, how many times have you seen the movie, Nate?
I've seen the movie now 3 times.
Okay.
We're recording this on Saturday, just for anybody's edification.
And we saw the movie together on Thursday. We saw it Friday, not together.
Yeah.
But
well, Nate and I did. We just didn't invite you.
He was too busy with his real job.
yeah, I came back way too late to meet you guys, so I just watched it up here. And
So you've seen it twice then?
I have seen it
And
twice.
then you went and saw it again today?
I went and saw it again today.
Alone?
Alone.
Really?
Yeah, I went alone.
Listen, I was not alone. I was sitting next to all the wonderful fans that were there with all their kids at a 12:45 showing. It was funny because all these kids, they were, they're running up and down the aisles and all this stuff.
During the movie?
During the movie.
Oh, I'd be sticking out legs,
again,
baby. We're tripping. We're teaching lessons in that theater, man.
This is why I was so happy. It was my 3rd viewing, and I also, at that point, stopped caring whether or not my bright phone screen was bothering the people as I was taking my notes.
Yeah, you can relax a little.
That's rude as hell. That's all I'm going to say about it. Get your phone in your pocket so I can enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads into our first topic before we get into the meat of it, of what we're here for. To fill our audience in, this past week, we had the opportunity to take part in a 27-hour marathon of all 9 movies here in Toronto. Now, believe it or not, this wasn't our first time doing this. In 2015, we did the 6 movies plus The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Which you would think after that experience we would have learned. But no,
Kevin,
4 years later.
Didn't you say, Kevin, that you were like,
Kevin
never
walked
again?
out. He was
We
like,
walked
never
out of that
again.
theater. I was like, man, I love that movie, but I am never doing that again.
Yeah, it was.
But then I was the one, when you got the tickets for it, I was like, you know what? We have to do this.
You were the biggest advocate. I was so surprised.
And I'm glad we did.
And kind of going off this topic from episode 3 of our podcast called The Movie Theater Experience, I just wanted to ask you guys, what was your experience like in the marathon this time around? Did you appropriately plan? Because I saw people like just, stock full of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Well, we were smart. We knew that we couldn't possibly live off movie popcorn for 27 hours.
Hot dogs, like they were just serving hot dogs.
And people were eating them at like 7 a.m. That's disgusting.
Crack an egg on that. I would eat it.
By 8 a.m., they were sold out of hot dogs.
Yeah.
I tried to eat one, and they
He
said
was
no.
gonna be one of those
I was going to be
people.
one of those people, and they said no. Sorry, sir, we're sold out. For breakfast, you can have popcorn or a leftover burrito.
Yum. So we went to the grocery store.
Yes, we did.
That was fun eating a full-size 20-person veggie tray during a movie.
Yeah.
That was cool. We got some salads.
Yeah.
My brother was sitting beside me making meat with
Right.
bread and cold cuts and barbecue sauce.
He was just, I definitely went for comfort over like anything else.
Yes, I wore pajama pants instead of jeans.
Yes.
Which was essential.
I brought slippers, which apparently
I'm so
inspired.
jealous.
I thought you guys were gonna make fun of me.
I bought some
hard.
slippers. Kevin, did you get some slippers?
You have to rub it in. No, they don't have gargantuan. They only go up to XL. They don't go up to gargantuan in slipper size.
At the grocery store, especially. But yeah, and then for myself, I wore a suit jacket.
Yeah, you
wore comfy.
Yeah. So here's the thing that was really funny. That Nate, like, we all came with like backpacks, super comfy. Nate comes in with jeans, sneakers, and a t-shirt and a blazer, like it's a premiere. Which
and I don't even
fine.
think you really brought in food either, did you?
No, he brought no food in, but he ended up leaving with the most stuff. He bought that R2 thing. He bought the bucket.
Yeah.
He bought
this $50 R2D2 popcorn and drink holder.
Listen.
He just bought everything.
I had a very wonderful reason for it, which is called consumerism. I figured, you know what, the R2D2 thing was so campy and putting your popcorn in it and the drink in the top. It reminded me of something that they would have done in the 70s and 80s, right? So I thought, you know what, I didn't get to experience that. I didn't get to have that, so I'm having it now.
I entirely just poke fun because I was tempted to spend the $50, but then I was like, $50.
And we had 27 hours or like 9 intermissions to go, oh, do I get it this time? Oh,
Right.
I held off. Yeah. But you were smart. You brought a neck pillow, a butt cushion.
I went pure geriatric.
Because that is the one place where even in the pajamas, I wish I had brought something. Because by movie 3, with about 20 minutes left, my butt was getting sore. Movie 4, it was 40 minutes left. By the time Rise of Skywalker came on, I sat down and my ass hurt. Yeah. And it was like, I got 2 hours and 50 minutes of this, and I want to enjoy this. This is going to be rough.
And then after it all, we got into a car and spent about an hour to get home. So.
On our ass again,
Yeah. I just wanted to mention, we were there on the 18th to start the marathon, and that was actually during the Canadian premiere of The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, that's
right. So there were a few sort of Canadian celebrities there, all of whom I couldn't. There was the one guy from ET Entertainment Tonight. What's that guy's name?
Oh, just the former Prime Minister Brian Mulrooney's son, Ben Mulrooney.
That guy was there.
The actual important person.
Yeah, he passed by me. I waved at him and said hi, and he didn't look at me. And then I. Sure, right? And then I was walking through the mass lineups just to get to the theater, and I actually met Harley Morenstein, who's the Epic Mealtime guy, who was there for the premiere. And I asked him if he'd seen the movie yet, and he said no. And I asked him if he was there for the marathon. He says, "What's the marathon?" And I replied, "All 9 movies, bro, 27 hours." And he replied, "You're stupid, bro."
See, that would have been like my highlight of the day outside of the movie, was being called out by the bacon dude.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, he was super cool.
Should have just been like, we got movies and movies and more movies and movies.
It was a cool experience, to say the least, and it sort of felt like I was there for the premiere, and I got to meet Tanner Z, which was incredible. For those who don't know, Tanner Z is the guy that you see before every single movie at Cineplex. But Justin, I guess I'll give you guys a chance. Did you guys find anything exciting about being there during the actual Canadian premiere?
No.
Why? We weren't there.
I mean, I felt like I was because I was wearing a suit jacket.
I mean, there was a good buzz. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I think I was excited enough that I wouldn't have needed that buzz.
I've had farts that were more interesting than that premiere. So.
Shout out to Scotiabank Canadian premieres.
Yes. Going back to Kevin's point about the seats in the movie theater experience, my God, those seats need to be updated. A friend of mine sent me an Instagram message. Went to go see the movie at a Cineplex. It had heated seats and it reclined.
I don't want heated seats. That's gnarly, man.
Yeah,
you're getting some serious swass.
It smelled pretty bad in the theater already.
Oh, I know. That was the one thing I was going to bring up is the odor, and I don't
see. And that's because people didn't come prepared. I brought a change of underwear, t-shirt, and deodorant, and about halfway through, I was like, time to freshen up.
Yeah, it was great.
You're welcome, everyone else.
Now, speaking of needing something, we all needed a lot of sleep. As we were going through these movies.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Well, you weaklings.
Well, so Kevin, you didn't sleep at all?
At all?
I did not sleep. I woke up. I'm bragging here.
Okay.
Because when we did the 7 movie marathon,
right,
I slept through probably half of it. You know, I missed full movies even.
Right.
And so this time I was determined I was going to do it. Unfortunately, I woke up that day at 7 in the morning, and I went, oh, boy, this is going to be rough. Get to the theater at 7, and I made all 9 movies. Not a wink of sleep. Now, I took some extended breaks, so I missed a few minutes of some movies.
Right.
But I didn't sleep. I was up for a total of 39 hours straight.
Yep.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I also consumed 10 coffees during the marathon, so that might have helped.
Okay. Nate, what movies did you sleep through?
I slept through episode 3 and episode 4.
Okay.
So Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. I honestly have seen those movies so many times. In fact, Revenge of the Sith, I think I saw like 15 times in theaters. So I saw it way too many times. So I was fine to sleep during that one. And then A New Hope, I mean, I could literally close my eyes right now and start watching it. So I didn't really worry too much about that. I was happy to have this time, unlike the last time we did the marathon, I was awake during Empire, and then for Return of the Jedi, which I thought was a little bit more important given how important Palpatine is in this new movie.
But not counting how many times you've seen the movies, that was my main focus, was I wanted to see the Palpatine stuff.
I agree.
And 3 is obviously essential to that too.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, like you said, you could probably quote the bloody thing start to
Seen it
finish.
so many times.
Yeah.
Well, so like I definitely fell asleep through Attack of the Clones.
You were sleeping during all of the prequels, I think.
Well, no. Episode 1 I watched.
I would
from
hope he
start to
wasn't
finish.
asleep at
I
7.
kind of dozed off. Attack of the Clones, totally slept through that.
Yeah.
I did see all the crawls though. I was able to like. I always woke up and like had to move around
Because
and
of
then
the
would get
noise,
back.
people cheering.
Yeah, no, I don't think I missed I didn't miss a single crawl. I
Yeah.
always I saw the credits for all of them.
Yeah.
But I just kind of dozed off in between. It was Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite movie. I have seen that one so many times, but in the middle of Empire, I was like, I need to go somewhere and just stretch out and relax for a second.
Yeah, you were smart though. You went
That
to a
was-
different empty theater.
That was
Peace and
incredible.
quiet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
brilliant.
I brought like the blanket. I just put the pillow and I
So
just
smart.
laid on the floor.
You're so much better than that jerk who kept lying on the floor and the front
Well, that's
aisle
my
between
thing,
the like.
and
he was
I
sprawled
almost
out
tripped over him like
several
twice.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost wish I gave him a little.
I'm just like, there was no security inside this theater
No.
at all while we were there.
Well,
so like,
and the thing is at that point it was like what?
For Empire, that would have been
Yeah.
about 5 o'clock.
Yeah. I think actually, it was 6 a.m. I left. I went and then I came back around 6:45 when the movie was just about finishing.
Right.
such a
But then
smart
I just
move.
stayed up for the rest of it because you're absolutely right. Like Jedi and then 7 and 8. I said to myself, I really need to see 7 and 8 in conjunction.
Yeah,
with
those
this.
were the most important.
Right,
I mean,
so-
we all said if they had just done a 7, 8, 9, we probably would have been fine just seeing that.
Yeah. Would you do a marathon again, guys?
I can't even say I wouldn't.
Is it for the purpose of just kind of being able to say you did it? That's why you do it?
That's why I did it for this one, I think.
It was an epic. It's
Yeah.
it's the culmination of 40 years. It
Yeah.
was special to witness
Yeah.
those 40 years.
Yeah. The end.
I actually honestly think we need to get into this bloody review.
Yes,
I need to
think
talk
so.
about this.
Yes.
Let's
okay,
go.
so I think the best place to start is initial thoughts. So did we like it? Did we not like it? Was it what we expected? Was it not what we expected? Kevin, let's start with you.
Well, when I first left the theater, I didn't know what to think. It was so overwhelming. That was my initial impression of this movie, is that, holy crap, a lot just happened in 2 hours and 50 minutes. And I'll elaborate on that, but I was kind of like, I know I didn't dislike it. I'm pretty sure I liked it, but did I love it?
So after seeing it a second time, how did you feel? Like did any of that kind of get figured out for you?
I love this movie more than life itself. The reason I know that I love it is because it's not what I was maybe not expecting, but wanting necessarily out of it. And I still was happy. And I think that says a lot about it. Because there's so much in the world today about spoilers and fan expectations and meeting those. And does it ruin movies? Does it make movies? Yada, yada. And so I had expectations and I had things I wanted to see. And a lot of them didn't happen. In fact, a lot of things I didn't think I would like to see happen. And I liked it. So I think that speaks to the power of how this movie, at least for me, really resonated.
Awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of those points, Kevin. I think the going into the theater, going into this movie, what to expect, the marketing was so well done, I think, to not tell us what was going to be happening in this movie, minus maybe the reveal of Palpatine coming back, but just the overall story, what was going to happen, how it was going to be laid out. I had no idea. Coming out of it, I felt a little deflated, I think, to say the least. I think like yourself, I was very much, do I like this movie? Do I not like it?
Well, like of our group of 7 people that saw at least that movie, we got joined by a few who didn't actually do but of the 7 of us, you were the least enthusiastic about it, certainly.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it was just, it was just so much.
It was fatigue.
Just a lot. It was fatigue, and it was Star Wars fatigue. And I just sort of, it just felt like too much Star Wars, which is crazy. Like, I can't believe I am saying that. I love Star Wars. The experience of the marathon, and Kevin, as soon as we walked out of that IMAX theater last night, seeing it the second time, I immediately looked at Kevin. Actually, before we even walked out of the theater, I looked at Kevin, and I was like, I loved this movie so much more the second time. And I think that a big part of that not only comes from, of course, every Star Wars movie you have to see, obviously, more than once.
Right.
They're so dense. They do that on purpose. But the experience of the marathon for myself, I think, hindered my first viewing, because there are a lot of things in this movie, and we're going to get into it, where it sort of just felt like they took a bag of Star Wars and threw it against a wall to see what would stick. Right. And so a lot of that, after seeing every Star Wars movie, it sort of felt weak for me. It didn't impact me as much as it would if I hadn't have just watched every Star Wars movie.
See, I'm kind of opposite of that, in that it was amazing to see what they were alluding to throughout this movie to close everything off. It was, okay, that's now been closed off. That's been referenced. That's been given a nod to. That's been tributed. Oh, that whole thing over a 9-movie arc has been addressed and stuff. So I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah. But I think the marathon experience, other than the sore bum and the being tired and staying up all night and not eating good food, it was an awesome experience to get to see that whole thing in one run.
Yeah, I think for myself, going into the movie, I kind of lowered my expectations, only because I knew that there was a big task at hand with this, especially given everything with The Last Jedi.
Yeah, and with Carrie Fisher passing away.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that sort of, those sort of elements at play for this movie. So I kind of went in with just the expectation of, I'm excited for another Star Wars movie, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I think after, though, the movie, I think this movie is good. It's good, but it's not great. And I'm going to just chalk it up, and we'll get into it as we keep saying. Oh, yeah,
gloves will come off. Don't worry.
Gloves will come off, but I think the main reason why this movie isn't great is because of The Last Jedi. In part to why Nate felt so overwhelmed. It had to almost establish things that should have. And this
are we getting into this now? Because that is 2 movies in one we just watched.
Yeah.
It's literally what 8 should have been for the first hour.
Right.
And then minus flipping the Emperor reveal to the end of that first movie.
Yes.
And then you get the conclusion. Like, we could go into it so much.
We can go into it, and we probably will. But to your point exactly, there are elements in the first half of this movie that should have been all about Episode 8. And that is the problem with this film.
Episode 8 pissed around and wasted a whole movie doing nothing.
Yeah, I love The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It doesn't matter. It made this movie have to be 3 hours and 2 movies in one.
Yeah, and I think that is the initial problem. So I think
can we go a moment? We go through
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with how all Star Wars movies start, and that is with the crawl. Now, I actually have the crawl. Do you find it effective if I read it?
I don't think we need to read it word for word. We can just talk about it. Like the first sentence of this thing, or first 2 sentences.
The dead speak.
Yes.
And the Emperor is back. Yes. It's like, oh, that's how we're going to handle this.
Well, it says the galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast, a threat of revenge, in the sinister voice of late Emperor Palpatine. So
does it say late Emperor Palpatine?
Yes, late. Wow. So it's insinuating obviously the fact that everyone still thinks he's dead.
Well, they thought he was dead until
until we obviously get into that.
But this explains the whole marketing campaign. And again, they were forced to rush through so much stuff in this movie to make up for the lack of events in Episode 8 that it was like they didn't even have time to show the return of the Emperor. Right. And so it's like, we are going to condition people to know the Emperor is back through all of our marketing,
exactly.
Which was kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
And the fact that the movie went like I thought those scenes of Kylo approaching him were halfway through,
And
and it was like, nope, you're gonna open the movie with it, right?
Exactly. And like that's how this crawl ends, is that Kylo is out to find where this Phantom Emperor, as it labels, which I thought was cool, and he wants to destroy it because it's a threat to his power.
I thought that was a cool idea too, right? Like he nobody can stand in his way. He's gonna be the guy,
and that takes us right into our first scene with Kylo.
Yep.
So it then takes us into where Kylo is, and he's out to find the Emperor and the Phantom Emperor, which is awesome.
So he starts out on that red planet, which I guess we don't have a name for it.
Yes.
Do we?
Which red planet?
Where the very first, where he's mowing down all those random villagers.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right.
I love it. It shows his like unbridled anger at this point.
I mean, he does some stupid moves in this scene, like tucking the lightsaber under his arm and running backwards into a dude. Kind of looks cool, but is also so impractical.
I did find some of like the slowed down, like that portion being slowed down. Certain parts should have been slowed down. Other parts should not have been slowed down. Like that, like him sliding backwards. It would have been cool if it just. It was just fast, right?
Yeah, like he got a guy running up on him. Makes more sense than turning around and running backwards. It's a bit goofy.
You could see from the slow motion that either it was a visual effects or something was pulling him, but it showed too much of the effect actually being done.
But they did a couple interesting things throughout all the lightsaber fights. I won't get specific or anything, but there were lots of different approaches, Like Rey later starts doing stuff differently and stuff, and so that's always cool to... Yeah. You can't just do the same thing over and over.
For sure.
But it was a badass moment for Kylo.
Yeah.
Like he is out to destroy anything in his way.
Well, and it's so cool to see his transition from, where he ends up in this movie. And ultimately, I think it works somehow. But it's cool to see him at the beginning of the movie, such contrast to where he ends. And then just the imagery at the end of this scene, like he's alone, right? And it's just that one moment where he's standing there and there's all these dead stormtroopers and dead villagers behind him. And it almost makes me think like, did he kill all the stormtroopers as well? Like in his anger? You know what I mean? Like it's such a cool, vivid image of this bright red planet with him alone. And that's ultimately what he is in this the big part of this movie.
See, to that point, I don't know if I bring it up now or wait till later and then come back and reference this scene. Maybe I will. So when I bring something up later, I'm going to come back and mention this scene, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good.
But so he gets his hands on this triangle thing.
Well, it's called the Wayfinder.
The Wayfinder.
But we don't know that, but yes.
Wayfinder.
Yeah. We don't know that at the time, but yes.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then it's plugged in.
Yep, and it's taking him. It's basically a GPS.
It's finding
compass.
his way.
Yeah, it's finding his way. Yeah.
And then we said we loved how they get that right out of the way, just right onto Palpatine.
Well, it was a marketing thing. That whole scene was a marketing thing. Like I remember.
Well, remember the reaction around the internet? Like, did they just spoil something huge? And we all thought it. Like, why would they give this next scene where he enters the temple and Palpatine's talking to him away in the trailer?
I didn't watch that trailer. That was the one trailer that you asked about, and I said I didn't watch it.
And I warned you not to. I warned my brothers who weren't looking for spoilers. Whereas I don't give a crap about that, Yeah. But I was like, man, they just spoiled something.
And you also have to think too, if it. Again, it does come down to like marketing. If it is smart marketing, sometimes things will get spoiled through marketing, and it might not have been intentional, but it just happens.
No, but this was intentional.
No,
right?
this was intentional.
It's crazy how 95% of the trailers we got and TV spots we got were the first 15 to 20 minutes of this movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that's insane.
So then we find ourselves. He lands his ship on a very desolate, scary looking planet. This planet is horrifyingly
This
scary.
whole next scene might be the scariest scene in Star Wars history, I think.
It's interesting because I said that I saw the movie at a 12:45 showing today, and a bunch of kids in the theater, and I was worried for them watching this scene of the flashes of Palpatine's face and his decrepit hands and all this stuff. And honestly, these kids did not seem fazed by it at all.
Kids are just kids are woke these days, eh?
Apparently. So on Exegol, and then we see like a big vat of Snoke's.
Yes.
So right away, JJ is saying,
well, it's actually
the
line. It's the line before that says, "My boy, I made Snoke," and then you see the bat of these. So right away, right off the bat, Snoke's history backstory resolved, done.
Okay, but is it though?
No, it's not.
I mean, and if he created this guy, why did he make such a weird-looking, decrepit, deformed dude?
In his image.
Was it to be sinister looking? Like, I want to make this guy look like a bad guy. You couldn't be a little less, a little more unassuming.
Yeah.
It was just like in your face. Was it to make Kylo believe that he was this evil? I guess.
I
just found it funny. That's what you came up with. You're not a very creative guy.
I mentioned this in the car on the way home, but maybe he was like in Vader Immortal. I haven't played it, but I know that there is a Black Bishop.
Get over this theory, man.
Well,
You're
because
obsessed with
but people have broken it down and
appreciate it.
And appreciate it and think that Snoke was this masked figure that was working with Vader and working with the Emperor. So the idea is maybe Snoke came from a representation of someone that he already had in his
life.
Group.
That's kind of cool.
So
I like that theory.
He cloned that.
But
idea.
I think I want to stick to what we see,
right?
Rather than speculating about things that are in comics or potential reveals 10 years down the road. Let's stick to what we see and know.
And I was also thinking too, as far as like there being no setup for this specific imagery of that of Snoke's. Or that Snoke was even a clone in The Last Jedi. And I was thinking, how cool would it have been if there was a moment, like we see the moment where Snoke gets cut in half, how cool would it have been at the end of The Last Jedi, or at some point in The Last Jedi, we just see another Snoke that's not cut in half, that's alive. And like, how did that happen? Like, that could have been such a cool way. And then this would have been a just quick...
See that, Kevin? He's turning. He's already starting to see that The Last Jedi did nothing for this movie.
Listen, I still...
But two things.
I think it's easier to just keep it simple. He made a Snoke. He fooled. Maybe he wasn't powerful enough to be in his own physical form.
Yes.
So he needed a physical entity to enter and persuade Kylo to...
I think there's obviously a motive to this First Order idea, and like, because there's a lot of reference, and we'll talk about it further, but there's references in this movie that cloning is a Sith thing, like it's associated
or an evil
with
thing in
it's
general.
An evil thing, right? Like it's you're breaking the natural order of life by cloning, right?
Lots of right wingers would believe that too.
Yeah, exactly.
no politics.
No, but I think something like that too, plays into this whole why he created this being to be a representation, and I don't think the army was fully intact, and they obviously weren't using clones, as we'll discover later. Yeah. But just this idea that there was a new sort of process to how these troopers were put together, not cloning.
Well, they haven't been cloning since Episode 7.
Oh yes, that's right. No, but that I think that's just that's what I mean though. Like the fact that they pointed that out, that now that the Emperor's no longer around, cloning hasn't been a thing. Right, so now they're finding new ways to recruit people for this new order, and it was something that was very Sith oriented and oriented around the Emperor.
I did love that moment where he's like, "I am every voice you've ever heard," and it was so cool. It was the Emperor's voice, then Snoke's voice, then Vader's voice.
But what does that mean?
Such a cool moment.
Is that is he hearing voices from that Vader helmet in his head?
That's what I'm saying. So what if he's the Palpatine is the puppet master. So when he thinks that he's talking to his grandfather, or that he's hearing from Anakin, he's hearing from Palpatine.
And how would he know what Vader sounded like? Did he watch old family videos?
In terms of like
Vader's there barbecuing, like, pass me the buns, and he's like, so then
you think like Ben remembers something about? No, I guess not, because he would have been.
Yeah. No, I think what it is that you right off the bat you establish that the darkness that's in Kylo has been breathed into him by the Emperor.
It's always been the Emperor,
right,
from the beginning of this saga.
He's been slowly
saga. From the beginning of the saga, it's always been Palpatine, and I like that as the arc.
He is the evil in the galaxy.
Yeah. And then hearing that line, the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some would consider unnatural. I thought that was cool to hear that again after Revenge of the Sith. It's the exact same line that he talks about when he's talking about death and bringing people back and things like that. A lot of critics are saying that this movie is unnatural, but we can get back to that a little bit later.
Yeah, that'll be a later portion of the thing.
Just to wrap it up, the Emperor says, "Go kill the girl, and I will give you this enormous army,
right,
the final order that I have been creating secretly."
Right. Yes. Yes, and then he asks him to kill Rey.
That's what I said. Go kill the girl.
Go
you know.
kill the girl,
Yeah.
and then he'll get the
And then
army.
and he asks, "Who is she?" You know, and he
'cause
just
he
gives
says,
that
"Be careful."
smile. Yeah,
be careful because she's not who she
thinks
thinks
she is, yeah.
she is. So I think that's awesome. That right off the bat we're getting a sort of resurgence of what is Rey's lineage. Very interesting.
That is screw you, Ryan Johnson. Number 1. Remember when he said Rey was nobody because that's stupid? I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah, exactly,
Boom.
exactly.
So that's screw you, Ryan Johnson. Point 1.
And then we're off to see Poe and Finn on a mission. They are, I guess, gathering information from.
They're going to meet the spy who has information.
Well,
for
someone
them.
who has information from a spy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're linked to a spy. Yeah.
Right.
If we're going to be keeping count, unneeded character number 1 in this movie, Boolean.
No,
is
but
the
come
name
on.
of that
You
spy.
were so. Oh, it was cool.
Boolean, the guy with the horns.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Why can't he just be there? He was in the
dies.
first scene.
You see him die.
Yeah.
Why
You
can't
see
that?
his head thrown
You
on
really
a
have a
table.
problem with the guy in one scene?
But-
I don't need to know who he is, where he is, how he got the information. He's just giving them information. That's his purpose.
I guess again, it's another one of those things where I have to stop trusting Disney's marketing in terms of characters, where I'm like, this character's gonna be cool, this character's gonna be cool, and then they end up literally just being a plot device.
Well, but
like,
why?
but that's what characters are, though, right? Like the thing I think that when you put that faith in the idea that this character is going to be something important, it more than likely they're a plot.
And did you really
they're a
want
plot
10
device.
new characters in one movie?
Right. There's so many. We're going to go through it later, but
Yeah.
there are characters that are virtually useless.
And
in
what
this
did you
movie.
want to? We're ganging up on him, but did you want it to be somebody we've already seen? Does everything in this universe have to be that interconnected? This is just a random source they have.
Yeah.
They've obviously worked together over the years in this battle, and he says, "Go win the war. Here's your info. Let's do this." And that's it.
I would have preferred they established the 3 new main characters a little bit more than introduce 10 random
Who's the
characters.
3 main characters?
Well, you've got Jana, right? You've got Dio. And you've got
Okay, so you think they should have been given this 5 seconds of screen time? Like,
well, yeah, or the collective just thought processes. I don't know. I was a little bit miffed at the amount of just here's a random person like that.
Well, we're going to get into it.
We'll
get into it. I have some points that I want to ask you guys about in regards to that. So we won't deviate too much.
Cool.
But in this scene, we do what I really like about it is, Kevin, you brought it up already. You see the team dynamic. You see them working together, right? Because as soon as they gather the information, they're being, chased down by TIE fighters.
We haven't seen them do anything together since they escaped Finn's Death Star, essentially.
Exactly.
Or
the beginning of TFA.
Yeah.
So see, again,
the bromance that was sorely missing from Last Jedi.
Well, just this,
and it took JJ 4 minutes of them together, and it was like, man, these guys are buddies, and they're working together, and they have opposite personalities, but they're a team. It was dope.
And also, you establish right off the bat that they've been working together now. They're they're out and about saving the galaxy, if you will, right? Like they're doing stuff, right? Whereas, obviously, where we pick up with The Last Jedi, they were just exactly where they left off, and there wasn't any sort of dynamic, which I think again hinders on that story because this is something. This scene is something that would have been great in Episode 8 to help establish more of the team building.
They get together at the end of 7. 8 starts, and they all go their separate ways.
Right.
Right. But moving on, we go into this escape from these TIE fighters that find them, and we learn when we discover or are introduced to, what is it called? Lightspeed
skipping.
Woo! That's
that
dope.
was sick. That was
That was
cool.
actually really cool.
It's the stupidest maneuver you could ever do because it is risky as hell.
It was like clue number 1 that that Poe Dameron was technically a very seedy character, and we get to actually uncover a lot more than I expected of his character in this movie.
You know
which
where
is really
that
cool.
would have been good though is in Episode 8.
Again, we'll keep going.
we shouldn't harp on it too bad, but I'm going to anyways.
But I have to say, if we are going to talk about something that I thought was a little bit negative in regards to this movie, lightspeed skipping is very much what the first third of this movie felt like in terms of the pace, in terms of going from plot point to plot point, MacGuffin to MacGuffin, and it's funny because I think even the way that this was written and the way that, I don't know whose dialogue choice this was, but when Rey says about lightspeed skipping, you can't do that. Like, it's almost like JJ himself was being like, listen, I know I can't do that, but I'm going to do it anyways because this is my idea for this movie, and I wanted these things to happen.
Absolutely, because I think you're right. I think it was a bit of a, we're moving through these fast plot points, but again, it comes back to the fact that
they had
The Last Jedi
they had to catch
was
up.
a MacGuffin. It was like it was nothing.
Because before you started harping on it, I actually liked what you said. It shows that Poe he's not just always been this resistance fighter.
Yes.
What are you doing in your past life that you had to learn how to do this thing that people don't think you can or should be able to do? That's I like that.
Yeah.
Because we do learn a bit more about his past as we go on. So you're right.
And I like that we learn more about all of the characters.
All of the characters get development throughout this, as we'll talk about.
As we'll talk, yeah. So from there, we move right into seeing Rey training. And I got to say, like, that first shot, she's floating. The camera pulls up. It was the best scene, I think, of seeing a Jedi do their thing. Like, they weren't able to do that sort of stuff, obviously, in in the 70s.
It's a little bit more powerful than Luke and his 3 little rocks say.
And he's doing a handstand, like he's upside down and he's still trying to
Well, and then
control
even when she can't, when she gives up on the exercise she's doing and that cool little flip
Somersault
down
flip,
and and you're just like, oh, Rey's got some
She's a
force power.
And this is where we see our first foreshadow of events that will come. Her just trying to connect with other Jedi.
Yeah, but it's also a really good. It's also a really good callback to episode 8 when she's doing her training with Luke, and she thinks that force he I think there's a line about lifting rocks, right? And even at the end of episode 8 when she has to lift rocks, and so it's just kind of another funny sort of situation of them saying haha, lifting rocks is the first thing we see her doing.
Absolutely,
in this movie.
yeah. That's a subtle nod to that. Yeah, I agree.
She lands and she's talking to somebody, and it's Leia training her.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Leia is her master.
I think that would have been really cool if we saw more of that. Unfortunately, we couldn't.
Right. Yeah, and I think that had Carrie Fisher been around, that would have been fully developed, right? Like her involvement in her training, and even in the subtle moments, in that conversation, just to kind of how they cut it together from old footage and obviously cutaway shots that they had of her, and just kind of inserting her.
Can we focus on that for just a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just what did you guys think of the
of her throughout the whole show?
Of the use of her clips and her dialogue throughout the whole movie.
Well, what else could they do?
Well, so
I've heard so many complaints about it, and it's seriously?
Right.
Well, here's the thing. She's credited as archival footage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I saw a tweet today that had a GIF of footage from the trailer that was in this movie of her, and footage from a deleted scene in The Last Jedi. And it's obviously identical, but obviously the lighting was changed and the character that was standing in front of her was changed. But I agree that I would have no idea of how to approach it. So I think for what they did a really great job.
Right. They used actual footage, though. They used real footage. They didn't
CGI her to get more out of it than they could have.
They used lighting in certain scenes.
Well, in lots of behind an actor. I'm sure it wasn't anytime it was the back of her head. I'm sure they could have used anybody.
There was a voice actor that was doing that voice for sure for some of the scenes. Because there were some things that she said that there's no way they would have had those recorded. Right. And then there were other moments where I thought it was super weird. Like Rey, I think, says something like, "I'm not going to do this without your permission." I think just before that, Leia says no, just says no to her.
She says no because she doesn't want her to go.
Doesn't want her to go. And then Rey says, well, I'm not going to do this without your permission, but I will if I have to. And then it just cuts. So it's it feels weird because we're getting these vague no and lines never underestimate a droid. And it's just these sort of, again, I have no idea how I would have done it better. I think for what they did, they achieved something phenomenal to get her into this movie. But it's not to discredit the fact that it didn't feel great.
But so what would you rather? She wasn't in it? This is pissing me off. Because it's not just you. What the hell did you guys want them to do? Either not use her, or they gave her a beautiful little part in this movie and closed her story off. Yes. It was nice. They did what they could with it. They didn't stretch it out and give us some weird Tarkin BS like in Rogue One.
Well, with a lot of talking lines.
And
right?
they force her down our throat.
Yeah.
They gave her little moments.
Right.
and they had other people talk for her,
Yes.
and she did her role, and she got a close to her story. I just
And I think in those
again, I don't mean to get salty. It's just
No,
like
no, I know.
you can't say, well, while I don't know what else they could do, I don't think they did it well. And it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
No,
and that's the general consensus. I've read some stuff online. I agree with you though. I think they handled it appropriately, and in the moments, I would argue that in the moments that we do have those interactions with Leia, while they're not all great, maybe, but I think there's some wisdom that does get passed around so that you do identify her as the master, and her kind of engaging with Rey on that sort of mentory.
Well, and
sort of
I even
basis.
think they use Lando later to impart some wisdom that
Right.
Leia probably would have.
Yes.
And then they also use Maz Kanata in this one
Yes.
as sort of that voice of, I knew Leia, this is what she would have said,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Which I liked.
Yeah, they used other characters around to kind of fill in on certain
Oh, yeah, there
things.
were even scenes where it's like Leia's standing 5 feet over there, and it's like, well, Leia wants you to do this, and
Right,
that's why
right,
didn't
right.
Leia say that? Well, because she freaking can't,
Yeah. So when Rey's training, you guys remember that scene when the droid goes a little wonky, trips her, starts shooting at her.
Right.
Was Kylo controlling that thing?
There was-
did they
There was definitely, I think what may have been happening is there was some sort of moment of connection there
Yeah.
that you could clearly see was setting up the kind of the nod of Rey's dark side, right? Because she starts getting really, really angry and frustrated at this droid, and yes, maybe Kylo had something to do with it. It was a little bit vague.
The way they cut that scene together is as he touches the helmet, we go back to her running, then the
Yeah.
droid trips her, and he's still focusing on the helmet, and then it starts blasting her and getting her on her shoulders.
Really? We see Kylo in that scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just bounced back and
Oh.
forth. So I think that's our first sort of nod to this sort of Force connection.
And also again seeing her anger, because
Yes.
she then makes her first big mistake of chopping down a tree and it lands on BB-8.
Well, she also has that flash too, right? She
Yeah.
has that like whole dream sequence, and he's also involved. It's almost like they both have a flashy dream sequence. She's seeing the throne. She's seeing the planet
Exegol.
She's seeing the planet Exegol, and it's just kind of like setting up this sort of how they're deepening that connection. I thought, and just in a not sort of like verbal way.
Yeah. I thought it worked.
Yeah, I thought it worked.
The boys return.
The boys return, and we see a little weird sort of. A lot of people have been calling out that interaction between Poe and Rey, where they're kind of bickering, if you will, about who knows better, and about the ship and about the droid and all this sort of stuff.
You know what you are? You're a difficult man.
Yeah.
was the
You're
best.
difficult.
That was
man.
great.
That was great. And
Yeah.
you know what? They did it with smiles on their face. And it reminded me a lot of our 3 original heroes who
Yeah.
bickered for 3 straight movies.
And that's why that scene gets called out. It's like it's one of those pivotal moments where you start to see the relationship between these characters almost in the same vein as the original trilogy characters of Luke, Han, Leia, even Chewie to a certain degree, obviously.
That moment felt very Han and Leia, right?
Yeah, and I like that JJ kind of snuck those moments in to help just solidify how close they are or how close they've gotten, because we didn't get that from Episode 8. Also, after this whole like Rey training scene, we and the boys return.
Yeah.
We get right into identifying our threat.
Yes.
Our threat for this whole movie.
Now, I was thinking about it, seeing the second time and then again the third time. I think it feels weirder for us that Palpatine is back than it would for those characters in their world. Because think about the timeline for us, right?
Yes.
It feels like it's been a longer amount of time in our world that Palpatine has not been in it in this series.
It's been, what, 20 or
30
33 years or whatever it would have been since
Right.
he died,
For them,
No,
right?
for us, even.
Oh.
It would be about the same amount of
You
time
think it's the
since
same
Jedi.
amount? I don't know. I feel like it's. I
No,
don't
he
know.
died in Jedi. It would, which was 33 years ago or something like that. So it would literally be almost the exact
Oh.
same
I
amount
thought
of
there was.
time.
I thought it was a bigger time difference
For us?
for us.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 83 or 84 that it came out, right?
Right. So 35 years. Yeah.
35 years, right? So, yeah, 35 years because they released all those Funko Pops in relation to the 35th anniversary, kind of like what they did with Ghostbusters, another topic.
So there's a 5-year difference.
Yeah.
I was right.
Oh my goodness.
That 5 years can make a big difference, my man.
Okay. So,
I kind of like what you're saying though, but it's more they actually know that there was this guy and he was real and what he did and
Yes.
his impact still lingers throughout the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hearing him come back wasn't like, well, that's impossible. It's, oh God, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
No, you know.
Yep. And obviously, as this information is becoming delivered to the rest of the Resistance team, Rey sort of clues in and remembers that in her journal of books.
Well, she
there's
was
some
actually
info.
I actually noticed she was on that page reading when
yeah.
somebody that page when somebody told her that the guys had returned.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
They didn't. She could have just been reading the journals. It didn't have to be that she just saw that information.
I think
that's a bit forced.
I think that's a bit of for the viewer to just see that there's an identifying factor.
But I would have been because the first time I didn't notice it. Obviously,
Right,
I
right.
noticed lots of things the second time, but the first time I just thought she was studying her books.
Right.
And she's a Jedi and she's got a great memory and she's passionate about this. So she went, I've heard that name of this weird planet. I remember this page. The odds that she was just reading about that, like, man, the Force is strong as hell.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how the books came back into play as being a key element for the adventure that her and the rest of the team would be going on. What do you guys think? Is there anything you wanted to add to that scene, or?
I think, again, I just think it was cool to see them all back again. The moment where they figure out about the Emperor and their reaction, I think, was fairly realistic. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, and I like how the guys called her out as she got back from her. They just call her out and they're like, "You need to join us and do stuff."
Yes.
And then they tell her the threat, and she's like, I do need to join them and do stuff. I need
that's
to
right.
become a part of this.
Because I think it was Poe who said to her,
You should be with us.
Yeah, not down here training and fighting
and
for
Finn's
what?
like, he's right,
Yeah.
And
So she realizes she's not a team
as soon as it's like, okay, confirmed, guys, we've got this intel. The Emperor is real. Okay, they're right.
And she wants to venture on it by herself, and the team shows up with her. And
Oh
says,
hell no, girl!
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
joining it, right?
Yeah, she's like, no, I need to go alone. He's like, you are going alone with friends. I love that line. So now, after the threat has been established, Rey knows what her mission is to follow with what Luke was trying to accomplish, was getting this Wayfinder. It takes them to a new planet called Pasan.
Oh, but sorry, Pisana. But
Pisana.
just before they have to go to Pisana, Rose comes out and is like, "Hey," Finn's like, "Rose, you gonna come with us?" Rose is like, "Nah, I gotta do my homework. Sorry, bro."
Wow.
Oh, son, screw you, Ryan Johnson. Point two. Remember that character you brought in, had to go on an adventure, show her love for Finn? She is going to be in this movie for 2 minutes.
So this is the question I would ask about that. Is that partially because her character wasn't well received, or because she's probably said she doesn't want to be pushed into the light?
Well, do we know if she was pregnant during filming of this?
I didn't.
My friend said
think
she
so.
looked different at the beginning. She looked different in different scenes of this movie.
Really?
She had a
I didn't catch that at all.
I don't know, like
Right.
maybe because that would obviously hinder
Well,
the
that would
character.
hinder-
She had a
hinder-
costume change, I think.
I found it interesting that eight ends, and it was setting up this romance between them.
Yes.
And while you can see Rose sort of pining for Finn, both here and at the end, Finn's like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. Oh, you're not coming? No problem. We don't care. Right? He doesn't, like, did they have a bad breakup? Did he tell her he didn't have the same feelings?
Yeah.
Like, I know you saved me and kissed me, but I
Yeah.
don't dig you.
Yeah.
Right. But I think though she wasn't needed though in this story.
No,
right?
and I
Like,
actually like what they do with his character more anyways.
Absolutely.
Not that they even solidify that there is
Sure.
a connection like that with this character we'll meet later, but
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In The Last Jedi, Rose, I feel, was used to establish, to bring Finn back using, she was the morality for Finn. She brought Finn back to a moral place of saying, you don't want to desert this. You need to be like my sister. You need to be a war hero that I am inspired by. And I'm going to show you why by going to a casino planet and looking at some poor kids. So I think,
but then
but
she
that wasn't
also
part- that
but then
wasn't
she
part of the
also
plan.
stopped him from saving the day because she loved him.
Touche.
Why? You know
Yeah.
why? Because Ryan Johnson sucks.
He didn't write. I think
Watching
he-
that again, I was like, wait a minute. She literally just selfishly stopped him from saving the resistance.
I think Nate's right about how she was treated in The Last Jedi. I think, though, it kind of comes back to your point. She's a bit of a plot device.
Right.
But an extended one because she seems to make it through.
and she's also more memorable than some of the other plot devices in this movie.
Well, I also found like her acting in The Last Jedi was so like like young spirited and like, I want to save the day.
100%. And then in this one,
it was so pushed back.
But she was also she's, how much time has passed, we don't really know.
She was like almost war torn,
right? She was maybe she was a little more
she seems
ready.
More in charge.
She's gone through, facing off Kylo Ren at the Battle of Crate. So I think
she's now not just fixing things in the boiler room of a ship.
Right,
She's got an important role in the Resistance, and she's busy. She's got to go do her thing.
She's got to study her homework. So anyway, so they leave to go to Pisana.
Well, and also they have 16 hours.
Yes.
The spy informs them that in 16 hours the Emperor is launching his fleet of.
Oh, cool! I didn't
ships.
catch that timeline. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and that's why it's so urgent that they do this. And then it comes back later. It's like, well, let's go back to we don't have time to go back and stuff. They do reference it a couple times really quickly.
Yeah. So that takes us to Pisana, a new planet, desert planet, very familiar to I guess a Tatooine-ish kind of vibe.
But I would say the Aki Festival, which
very culturally diverse,
right?
And
C-3PO
colorful.
has a really good line where he's like filled with like sweets, and then they look back at him, and then he looks back. Oh, fantastic!
Oh, his
moment.
little turn away, like, oh, never mind. You know?
That's the first funny C-3PO moment in this movie.
Yes,
there's
many.
The first of many.
Many.
This was the best handling of 3PO since Empire.
Yeah,
But
he actually his throwaway lines that you would hear were like so funny.
I almost feel bad for 3PO because they treat him like crap, but that's when he's at his best.
Yeah.
Like either Han telling him to shut up,
or
all of our heroes in this one just like
all
enough.
of them told him to shut up.
Oh, we can erase him. I mean, not to jump ahead, but yes.
So the Aki Festival was so cool because it was cool to see. Yes, there was another sand planet, but it was a planet filled with happy people. They weren't run down, they weren't rich people like on Canto Bight, but they were happy, celebratory, colorful.
And I guess maybe this is because I guess they're going to these outer rim planets at this point, right? So they're out of the grasp of the First Order, and maybe
it hasn't caught up to them yet.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
No.
So, but maybe that is why they are so happy, is because they're not under this dictatorship, this rule, And I love Rey. Like, I've never seen anything like this. It was a really cool look at Star Wars culture that we've never seen.
I like
it's always neat when you see a new culture on Star Wars, right?
I think that that whole festival, that moment is really actually a moment for Rey, because she has this appreciation for life and the light. She interacts with this alien child, and this is where another pain point moment where the alien child asks, what's your family name, and she's like, I don't have one. I'm Rey. Their mission though is to locate he was like a Sith hunter, or
they called him a Jedi hunter.
A Jedi hunter,
Sith sympathizer.
A Sith sympathizer.
Yeah,
that's it. Sorry, I had it the other way around. So he's a Jedi hunter.
Luke had already gone to this planet to look for him. Correct.
Yes,
correct.
Yes, and we the First Order learns of their whereabouts because of that Force moment with Kylo.
This was our first real I will say the best part about Last Jedi was the introduction of this mind meld. This we'll learn to call it a dyad of the Force that is between Kylo and Rey.
And they do that Force timing. It's like FaceTime, but with the Force.
Force time. I like that.
Is that what they call it?
That's what it's been called online.
I like that. That's
Force
wonderful.
Time. Yeah, it's
Force
cute.
time.
I mean, it is expanded in this movie. In each instance that we see it, in more and better and better. It's it's amazing. But
It evolved. In
they
this
go
movie.
from, because they had only talked in Last Jedi, right?
Yes.
They did touch hands.
They touched hands,
They
so that was
physically
okay.
were able to touch
and
hands.
now this one, he's reaching through. He grabs the necklace. It takes the First Order 2.8 seconds to calculate
Analyze
the source. I guess.
Well, it's technology.
Yeah,
that's believable to me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that is very believable.
And I like how it was called the local garrison. So, I mean, actually, if there is a local garrison, the First Order would be in there. So how are these people still happy and allowed to party? Who knows? Who knows?
Well, they're just.
But I like
just
that
living
it's
life.
not, we're going to get there and rush right there. It's send in the garrison and we'll get there as soon as we can. I like that. That's a cool learning how the First Order works,
But I
right?
think that festival is supposed to kind of capture the idea too, is, there's all this darkness that's going on around in the world, and there's this one place in this one moment where everyone is just living together happily and enjoying life, right? And I think that's what's really kind of inspiration to Rey. First Order ends up showing up, and this takes us to our first sort of battle, I guess, if you will.
Well,
with-
no, not quite, because a mysterious character shows up to save
that's
them from
right.
these.
We
You know,
see
the First Order guy gets shot with an arrow.
In the head.
Was it in the head?
It was violent.
Yeah.
In the head. And he
Yeah.
kicks his head back and
Yeah.
falls over. And
Yeah,
I was,
because they do get discovered by one First Order trooper
Yeah.
that's on the ground.
and
he's like-
in that moment, I thought, oh, it's Jana or Jana.
Yana.
Yana. Is it Yana?
I think it's Yana.
They don't really say her name that often in the movie.
I'm going to say Jaina.
Jaina. Okay.
Anyways, it's Jaina. I thought it was Jaina because in the marketing, you see a lot of her with a bow and arrow.
Okay.
Right? And so, I mean, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later, but that was, I immediately was like, oh, that's her. And then what happens?
Oh, the helmet comes off, and it's, of course, Lando.
What do we have here?
Landasar Calrissian. He doesn't actually say the full name, eh?
But I love his line when he takes off his helmet, when he says, because Wookiees are easy.
Right,
Well,
because they
they
made
already
that
told
joke.
him, yeah, keep your head down, and you see Chewie
Yeah, that was pretty
ducking
funny.
through the
That was
crowd.
great.
That's a great little joke.
Yeah.
But so it wasn't Yana, it was her dad, Lando.
Maybe. We'll get back to that.
Yeah, we'll get back
I
to
had
to
to make
that.
the joke, though.
I love how Lando is riding around in the tread of a sandcrawler. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
That was what that
Okay,
was.
cool,
it was
cool,
like
cool.
the whole top of the sandcrawler was missing.
Yeah,
so
it
he
was
just
just-
like screwed over some Jawas.
But I love
and-
it. He's got like a party bus that he's just rolling
yeah.
around on this planet.
Yeah,
He's got like that's his
I like
love
to,
palace.
I
He's
like
got
to
the
think
blankets.
that, yeah, I like to think that he didn't turn on the love lamp and the lights and stuff. You know, like they were just in there,
Wrong switch.
and the music. So good.
But what was cool is that we discovered that, the mission that they're on,
was one that he did with Luke.
yeah, which I like. Honestly, I was like, damn, that's a
Luke
wicked
was
story.
Luke was
Yeah.
super busy in those 30 years.
I know.
You know, like we find out that he's like, I mean, we already knew he started a Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
That would have been the last thing, I guess, that he did before isolating himself. But like, he went on missions with Lando to find these Sith wayfinders. We also find out later that he spent years training Leia.
Yes.
Like, it was a busy 30 years for that man.
I cannot
that's
wait
right.
to read all the comics and watch the animated series of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Disney's going to do that.
They'll do something.
Yeah, they'll do something.
We-
And I think that's one of the things. That's one of the things that I think fans are kind of iffy about. Is like there's a lot that's kind of established in this that's not really dealt with throughout this movie, but that it's going to be dealt with in some other medium platform, which is we'll get to that later.
So then, why did they get out of Lando's ship again?
because the First Order were coming.
Oh, so you could hear them coming,
You could,
and they're
you could
like,
see them coming, and
they're
he's
like,
like, "You go." Maybe
"This
he
thing's
would,
too slow."
right?
No, so
well,
what-
because he told them they need to get to the ship.
Right. 'cause
Okay.
that guy's-
They
that-
found the ship; it had
Yes.
been abandoned, and
He
the
had confirmed
Wayfinder
that
wasn't
for
in
them.
there. Yeah.
Yes, and they said that he must have not searched it, so they're going to go back and search it.
So then they go and hijack 2 vehicles, speeders, and Finn asks the question I have been wondering about the Star Wars universe for my whole life. He says, "How do you know how to do that?" How does everybody in Star Wars know how to do everything?
How to talk to a
Everybody
droid.
knows where every specific tool and part on every ship in existence is. We got to go find the combustulator. Oh, it's on this ship. It's here. Yeah. Like, how do you
Right.
know how to do that?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm fine with it, but it is always. I'm like, how do you know how to fly this ship you've never flown? And how do you,
Yeah,
Because-
no. And I think that obviously the point of that is to dig deeper into this idea that Poe has some sort of like seedy past and
True.
You know, what I
right?
mean?
How
And,
many
like,
vehicles did he hijack
hijack-
while he was doing his previous
Yeah,
life?
exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to imagine too, like technology in our world is for us is pretty similar across the board. A computer is a computer no matter who it's made by. So, a ship is
Sure,
a
but in
ship.
this world, they can get into a tractor, a jet plane, a submarine. They know how to use a computer, an oven, a sewing machine,
but they live
and
in
they could
space.
fix all of them.
They
Yeah.
live in space.
Like, how do
Yeah.
how do you
It's
know
a-
how to, what every
it's a
part
way
is
of
for
life.
everything? It's
It's a
just
way
I
of
always
life.
just found that interesting. So I love that he asks him, "How do you know how to do that?"
Yeah.
It was a good moment. And so they get chased by those 2 stormtroopers on vehicles that don't float for some reason.
Yeah, they drive.
They
They're
drive
they're-
them.
Yeah, they're.
Oh yeah, why do you need a treaded vehicle when you could just float on a speeder?
I mean, ask the Jawa, right? Why does
True.
But,
maybe it's for the terrain. I don't know. Maybe because there's less sand that blows up. If
You
you're
know why?
hovering.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
I
you
like
know
that.
why? Because it looks cool as hell that they're on
Well,
these.
the vehicle is definitely for like it's like the Jeep or the 4x4.
it's the all-terrain
Yeah,
space
all-terrain,
vehicle.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then it does like a donkey kick and launches the flying stormtroopers, and you get that great line of "They fly now! They fly now! They fly now!" So good.
I loved those moments. I really liked.
This is one of the strengths of J.J. Abrams and why his Star Wars movies are some of my favorites. I just think he knows how to write fun dialogue. And I think a lot of people like Empire, without realizing that one of its greatest strengths is the fun dialogue that fills that movie. That movie is carried by the interactions between, especially on the Falcon. Their quips and stuff the whole time are just fantastic.
I agree.
And JJ got that.
Yes.
Somebody else in this trilogy didn't get that, but JJ got it, man. And so, and there's like 5 great moments just in this. We get another 3PO, right? Oh, did we lose him? Great job, sir. Guy pops back up. Terrible job, sir.
Yes,
You know?
joke number 2. I laughed out loud at that point. I thought that was hilarious. So anyways, they avoid the threat, right? They get rid of the
They take him out.
An amazing shooting those guys' packs and listening to them screaming towards their death.
and BB-8's little moment where he helps out and he punctures that like air tank thing and it just spits out this like yellow smoke that distracts them. And
Ray
then
does a quick 90-degree spin, shoots the guy. Never underestimate a droid.
And
That line came back right away, right?
I loved that line came back at least, right? Like just in that capacity.
But did they needed to do it twice though, with Leia saying it and then her? Like that was the payoff.
That was
I
the
guess?
payoff.
That's the
Yeah,
payoff,
never
yeah.
underestimate a droid. BB-8, not now. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. Never.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, droids are pretty gosh darn essential in this whole series of movies. They're always saving the day behind these
And they
stupid
have
humans'
emotion.
backs. You know.
Right.
They have emotion.
Yeah.
Right. Like
yeah.
I think
they
if-
care about their humans.
Exactly. Yeah. I like that idea about like, something that seems so artificial and that wouldn't have that. There's an emotion to it, and we'll
There's
get deeper into
the
that.
sense of humanity to these mechanical programmed characters.
Yep.
They develop these bonds with their masters. You know.
Yep. So they get to the ship, but they fall through some quicksand, very Indiana Jones style. I love that.
Yeah, and as they're slipping through the quicksand, you hear Finn. This is the first moment of him saying, "Ray!" He's yelling. By the way, he yells a lot in this movie.
Yeah, I think that's why they
how many
casted him.
times does he yell Ray in the 3 movies? There's got to be a tally. It's got to be like 100.
Gonna be a quick cut.
All he did in this movie, other than like some good dialogue moments, like when he was interacting, he was yelling other characters' names, like Poe, Ray, Chewie. You know what I mean? Like it was always just.
But so he says, "Ray, I need to tell you that," and then he just sort of goes away, or he's, "I never told you that."
Are we going to speculate what he wants to tell her, or do we wait until the next time he's, because this is a big thing.
Well, I like that. I was
Because
actually
he comes
just
up
gonna
a few
ask.
times, but he never does get to tell her
Yeah, and what is it that he's trying to tell her?
That he has the Force.
that he has the Force. It's been
Right.
confirmed.
100%.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and we'll get into it, but obviously he goes through the movie, has all these Force moments. One of the big things that somebody kind of brought up on a podcast that I was listening to was like, well, why was he so like upset when Poe approaches him in the cave afterwards and says, "Yeah, why don't you want to talk about it while I'm here?" And one of the things they pointed out is in the scene, like a scene just prior, Poe was really upset with Rey that she was doing this. She was focusing on the Force and focusing on her training. So they thought that maybe Finn saw that and sort of was like, "Well, I don't
want to tell him.
I don't want to tell him because he doesn't believe in all this gobbledygook," which is a very like Han Solo-esque style, like character, and he mirrors Han Solo a few times in this movie. Poe Dameron does,
100%,
right?
100%.
So
Well, I think that he was supposed to be he was supposed to be nothing in Force Awakens, right? He was
he was supposed to be dead.
and then they were like, "Man, we like this
too
guy."
charming.
And so because he isn't in a certain movie, but he is in the bookends of this.
Yes.
Like I love him in Force
Oh, me
Awakens,
too.
and I love him in this one.
Me
He
too,
is
yeah. He was one of
charismatic
my
as hell.
favorites.
Yeah.
And so, but he is the Han Solo,
Yeah.
obviously.
So
right?
obviously you wouldn't want to go up to this guy who's really mad at Rey for doing that, and then
who can be a bit of a dick,
Right.
quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least not at first. Let me
No.
tell somebody who can relate with me in private, and then maybe we'll reveal it together.
Well, I think it's also just it's a sensitive topic, I guess, because I don't think he's fully 100% sure that he does, but he just feels like that is something.
Because he's clearly not like a Rey,
Right.
where it's just like, oh damn, I have the Force, right? He's like, do I? I have a connection.
Yeah.
And he feels it more and more each time something resonates.
Again, something I wish that could have been kind of
It
more,
maybe could have been explored a little.
more in episode 8. Like,
I mean,
honestly,
because
like, just to really
people
establish it.
wondered in Force Awakens when he picks up the lightsaber, and he actually does quite well against Kylo.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Kylo's wounded, and any normal man would be dead from the wound he
Yes.
takes. So that's why
Yeah.
he can even compete for as long as he does. But
I think,
it's also maybe because he, we clearly now it's because he has the Force.
and I think there was also a very, very subtle hint at maybe all three of them being very Force sensitive. Like, obviously Rey being the Jedi and focused and having the ultimate power, but moments where with Poe and how articulate he is as a pilot.
Well, I mean, in the comics, they do explore that his parents grew up with Luke. Like, Luke and his parents knew
Right.
each other, and there were
On
Force
Endor, I
trees.
think?
There were Force trees
Yes, on Endor.
that they
Yeah.
thankfully never brought into this
No,
series.
but again, it just kind of.
But he was around the Force growing up,
exactly.
so I don't know if it rubs off on you, but
I do like the idea of Finn's story kind of evolving in the sense that the Force isn't something that is born into you based on lineage.
so they fall into the pit.
Yeah, and which takes him to an underground sort of like tunnel system where I guess this hunter, what was his name? I read his name.
Ochi,
that's it. Ochi, where Ochi had been residing.
Well, no, he fell in. They figure out that he was driving his speeder back to his ship.
Right.
Fell in the same pit they did.
Yep, did the exact
And
same
then
thing.
it was like, 3PO. Where's the body?
Yes.
and they're all like, oh, he's gonna be dead, and then he's dead.
But you would have to imagine that he was like living in there, obviously trying to figure out how he was going to get out. But he was living in there, like in
was
the
he?
sense-
Why?
Well,
I think he probably got eaten by this snake that they encounter pretty darn quickly.
well,
But
then why was his bones?
wouldn't his bones be? I guess would it poop out the bones? I don't know how snake anatomy works.
Oh,
Right.
So you
So
think
he
he
must
just
have been
died
living-
in there?
Yeah, he just suffered
I think he suffered. Like he was
of
just
starvation.
Yeah.
But why didn't the snake eat him?
Maybe the snake didn't live there yet,
Then
Kevin. I don't know.
No, but then he would have been able to walk out the door that the snake was blocking.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm asking legit questions here, boys. Answer me.
Well, so the other
I want answers, and I want them now.
so the other thing is,
this
you
movie
bring up-
doesn't necessarily give us all the answers.
No, but so you bring up the serpent. It was wounded. How did it get its wound?
Maybe
Was
from-
it Ochi,
right?
So maybe it was.
And
he
maybe
was
the
defending
snake
himself.
doesn't eat things; it just bites them and they die.
Well, he seemed pretty nice. He seemed pretty nice after we see our first.
Before that happens, they find something, right?
My only issue with this whole movie is what
Yeah.
they find here.
Oh, the Sith dagger.
Stupidest
So
dagger.
BB-8.
Yeah,
That's
in the
so
sand.
dumb.
BB-8 finds it.
Yeah,
right?
finds a Sith dagger, which he like sort of blows some sand off, and then Rey sees it and finds it, and it's just like, why was it so easy to find it? Like, how? What are the
Because Ochi Man had it.
Yeah, he would have kept it on him.
right?
and he
But
took
like,
it.
it just is like, but in this whole tunnel, they're in that specific area again.
It was right by his body.
It was
or the
No.
speeder.
It was in the same. It was in the
It
same.
was in the same
area.
vicinity.
Yeah.
And BB-8 was
That's why-
probably scanning the sand with this and noticed something in it.
something.
And Rey felt it because this knife, when she picks it up, has because she goes, "Yes, I noticed that too."
Yeah.
That-
Okay.
She's got the bloody Force.
The Force
Yeah.
is the
and
answer.
this is a very important.
We're gonna see that
Sith
come
resident.
up later, right?
Yeah.
Where she senses it, right?
The Force is the answer.
So yeah, they find the dagger, which is obviously going to be a key element in their adventure.
Should I wait to say why I hate this stupid dagger? Because it has to do with what it does.
Yeah, we'll get
so
to-
Let's
I'll
get to
wait
what
to.
it
I hate
does,
this. Is
yeah.
the only thing in this movie where even the second time I'm like, this is dumb.
I kind of like think that it was just a.
No,
There's
I'm
some-
fine with a treasure hunt and clues. Like, I'm all about
Right.
national treasure.
Yeah.
But even in that movie, if they've solved 15 clues, 2 of them were stupid, and this would have been one of those.
Right. Okay.
So then we get to seeing the snake, and it's injured.
Yep.
And
She force heals it, man.
thank you, Baby Yoda.
Right. So like.
Now it makes sense why they released that on Wednesday.
Right.
We need to condition our audience to be okay with force healing.
Right. But I think we already like. From the first instance when Baby Yoda was going to do it to Mando in Episode 2,
Yeah.
I think we already knew that that's where that was going to go.
Sure.
Right. But then actually to see
To actually
him do
see
it,
him do it was
Right.
another thing.
Right.
But now my brother, who reads the comics, says that watched Clone Wars. He can't remember if it's actually shown in the show, but it is referenced. Force healing has been referenced.
Yeah.
This is not something they just came up with for this year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and she studied those books, right? So
Right.
she read about that and figured it out that way through.
Okay, I like
through
that.
the books,
She
right?
didn't just go like, "Why don't I try this?" She had
No,
maybe
for sure.
read that people in the past have been capable of this.
100%.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay.
Exactly.
And I think the interesting thing, we're going to get to force healing again later on throughout the movie in a very pivotal moment. But this moment with the snake, I feel, was for audiences who didn't watch The Mandalorian. I feel like they didn't need it.
Oh, I think you needed it. I think if she did it the first time in that pivotal scene, it would have been like, oh, come on. No. We needed to know she could do it before she did it to something important.
And also she had to do it so that they could get out. Like, that was the key element.
Oh, well, no, but that's why they needed it. But no, I think it was necessary to see it before she did it in that pivotal scene, or else it would have been too convenient.
I guess,
If you'd never seen but
that's what I mean. Like, us as Star Wars fans watching The Mandalorian, we saw Baby Yoda force heal. So if I had seen her do that with Kylo, I, as a overall Star Wars fan, would have said, yeah, that makes sense because that exists.
But it also gave her the opportunity, which she wouldn't have been able to do with Kylo, because it would have been really like out of the situation, was to explain to somebody what she did, how force healing works.
Yeah.
We needed to go, oh, it's sharing life. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
she does.
If she doesn't have
it.
magical
That's true.
healing
That's
powers,
true.
it's sharing the life force.
Good
So
point.
it was
Good
to.
But if she had said that to Kylo, like, oh, by the way, I fixed you by sharing my life force,
it would
right?
break
It would
that
have.
scene.
It's because the other characters were around her that they were able to use that.
She was able
as
to
an
explain
opportunity
to
to
us
explain it.
through them, yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's why they had to do it there.
That's fair.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yeah, so they're ready to leave. So they boot up the ship.
Yeah.
But Rey senses Kylo is nearby. She goes out to confront him. They're gearing up, ready to go. Finn says, Chewie, get Rey. We got to go. Chewie goes out, and sure enough, there are some Knights of Ren outside.
And we had seen them earlier, just standing on a rock, right? I think man, their theme was one of the cooler ones from new themes introduced in this movie. I thought their theme was really cool.
I didn't catch that.
I couldn't
theme.
sing it to you,
Yeah.
but hearing it that second time and you see them on the rock, it was like, oh, they're badass. I mean,
it startled me when the music hit.
I just wish they did more than just show up on some
I
rocks.
just wish in the last 3 bloody movies they did anything, something,
Yeah.
one thing, because they don't even do anything in this scene.
Yeah.
Like,
They do nothing- they do
see
nothing
them
in this movie.
You see them, and then all of a sudden, Finn goes out to look for Chewie and Rey, and
Right.
it's stormtroopers who've got they didn't even capture the bloody
I
guy.
know.
Like, they do nothing. These guys, and they're so cool.
And they always seem to show up just after we see our main characters.
It started feeling like
They were always
a
like a little bit
Scooby-Doo
behind.
episode.
Yes.
Of like the villain just like showing up and like looking at the characters as the story progresses.
There's
It was
another
just
scene.
brutal.
There's another scene that will come up later, but so we see Finn go out to try to see where the heck is Chewie, and he's being apprehended by First Order troopers,
and he's getting loaded into a carrier. And we'll come back to this scene in a second because there is something very pivotal there. But then we go back to Rey. Kylo's approaching in the ship.
And that's where we get our.
That was such a cool scene.
It's
I loved it.
I like that moment.
Is that not the first thing we really saw from this movie? Was the flip over the
In the
tires?
trailer.
It was in Chicago.
So cool.
Yeah, in Chicago.
It was so good, and like the epic, slow motion jump that she does, and the fact that she chops right through the wing of his TIE fighter, which is even cooler that it's his TIE fighter that she destroys, and it gets that huge explosion, and then somehow he just walks out of it perfectly unscathed.
Well, I mean, it
airbags.
doesn't blow up. It just tumbles. He's got
airbags.
seatbelts and airbags, and
Okay.
it just tumbles.
All right.
It's fine.
Come on, it's space.
The Force.
Yeah, the Force.
So he tumbles off. All of a sudden, you hear Finn yelling, "Shocker!"
Shocker, yeah. Rey, they've got Chewie.
And the cruiser goes up in the air, and Rey starts to
force grab
a bloody ship out of the air.
That was amazing.
No,
sick.
And honestly, like it was, everyone was saying that they wanted to see, not in this movie, but just in general, they would love to see, just like in what was that game?
Oh,
Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed,
where the main character is using the Force to pull down a Star Destroyer, and it's like an epic.
Well, this is like
scene.
Thanos throwing a moon at Tony Stark,
Right,
almost,
exactly,
right? But no,
right.
but like I've heard so many complaints. Rey is like Neo in Matrix 2. She's too powerful. Well, yeah, we're gonna learn why.
Yeah.
And it justifies everything.
Yes,
absolutely. And
I'm more concerned with how friggin' cool it looks when she's doing these unbelievable
I think
things.
in that moment in the theater, like I audibly heard Justin like go, "Wow!" Like whoa! Like he doesn't really
they just
talk
went
during
there.
the movie.
They went there, right?
But
Like,
then so Kylo comes in,
and it's a tug of
and
war.
he shows he's no slouch either.
Yeah.
Why for 2 movies did they make him look weaker? Like, I guess he finished his training now, and it's out of this spite and desire to be number one that he finally reached
He's
this
at his
echelon,
maximum power, I think.
which is great,
And I think
But
that,
he's finally like a worthy foe
Sure.
for her in this one, where she's dummied him in 2 straight movies, basically.
well,
right?
I think in
Well,
number
their
one,
lightsaber struggle was something,
right?
Sure.
But I think that the whole intent was, with the Last Jedi, you would hope that you've established that they are at least on par with their training in terms of their ability with the Force.
But think about how much more training Kylo's been given than Rey ever
absolutely.
had up to
Well,
that
it's
point.
the same with Luke. Like, it could be argued with Luke. Like, he from the training that we saw that he actually had, it went from Obi-Wan, which was very minimal, to
nothing.
to him being on his own, to then going to Yoda, which was then
nothing.
And then there was obviously that big lapse of time between Empire and
2 years, I guess.
Yeah, and he there's a whole
completed it
book.
somehow,
There's a
yeah.
whole book that covers all that, and he builds his own lightsaber, all this stuff. So like, he didn't really have that much training, but he was well versed in the Force.
But speaking of Rey's power, it's about to get even more
yeah,
badass.
that tug of war results into her getting so angry that she sends out electric shocks and blows that carrier.
Chewie!
Right up.
Dude,
Yeah.
she screams Chewie's name, and I got.
Well, she screams no,
Right.
and Finn screams.
Yeah, but
Shocker.
But like, I was like
goosebumps. They
goosebumps,
just killed Chewie.
and I was.
She's a good actor.
I
man.
was oh yes, absolutely. Shout out to
she-
Daisy
Rey-
Ridley.
Strongest in this one, especially.
For sure. Like, the
Strongest
emotion in her eyes
her
when
and
she did that.
Adam Driver were both
Phenomenal.
so phenomenal, and they had to be as the anchors of this.
Man,
right?
they lucked out getting these two. They lucked out.
Well, Adam Driver, especially because Daisy really hasn't really done much.
No, but she's a good theater actor. She has
No,
switched her background.
she's
yeah.
excellent. But Adam Driver is proving to be one of the best in the world,
he's gonna
right?
get
And
an
so it's
Oscar.
like, man, we just got this guy to play our Darth Vader in a Star Wars movie, and he's like one of the best in the world. It's sick.
He'll get an Oscar at some point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not for this, but for another movie.
But that goosebumps. Like, it's just such a shocking moment. I literally felt my body sink into my seat in that moment, thinking like, they actually did that. They actually killed off Chewbacca.
And the craziest thing is that they don't even have time to like let it really sink in. Like your stomach is sinking,
Yep.
and they're like, "We've got to go,"
Which is
right?
awesome, because that puts you in Rey's shoes in that very moment.
Yep.
You're like, I can't even think about
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my
anything
God, oh my
else
God, oh my
right
God, oh my
now.
God, yeah.
But the movie's still going. And I thought it was honestly, it could have been one of the most powerful moments and we'll get to that. It could have been one of the most powerful moments in this movie.
I don't know. Something smelt funny though for me when the first time I saw it. Like, I think it might have been. Well, it probably was the theater.
You didn't fall for it?
I didn't fall for it.
What?
I
didn't.
never
No.
believe
No,
people
I-
when they don't
100
fall for
Dude,
it.
I 100%
No,
fell
you
for
know
it.
why?
did.
You know why I didn't? I think it's the certain visual cues that kind of go with the loss of like a key member of the team. Usually in certain movies, this might be accentuated with like a cinematic, like a score that just kind of feels very soft and like somber, or
But
hanging
it
on
was
this.
too frantic. They didn't have time to let it sink
But
in.
because it was so frantic, I
And
thought
this
it
would
was
have been a great way, for Rey to have to struggle with this inner demon.
Yeah.
This could have been that killing Chewie, for Christ's sake. Now
Well,
that is your ticket to the dark side.
see,
the guilt and the anguish. Those are the things that would
Exactly.
lead you there, right?
That in itself, though, the reason why I can see why they did it, because she had to really negotiate the fact that she's powerful. She has powers that she doesn't fully understand.
So they get on the ship and get away, and she's like, "I can't believe I did that." And it's like, "It's
Yes.
not your fault, man. Like,
Yeah.
Finn, it's not your fault."
Yeah, he's explaining to her. It's like you're still learning how to control your power, and you were doing it with the intent of wanting to save him, and it just it kind of happened. Like, there's no point in beating yourself up over it, because we got to get through this mission.
Two things that I missed in this scene the first time I watched it that I caught the second time. Thing number one, there are 2 transport ships that
You missed it the second
see.
time. Because I told you.
saw it
right?
the second time.
Oh, did you?
I
Yeah,
missed
so did
it
I. And they filmed that scene because I was looking for it the second time, because I was like, it's there. It's in plain view, but it's on the side of the screen.
Yeah.
And your eyes are, and it's maybe like slightly behind the first one.
Yeah,
and your eyes are focused on our beloved Chewie getting put into the carrier. So
Yeah.
they film that so well that
Sleight
you're
of
not going to
hand.
notice that second one.
Well, I'm dubbing this, and I think the proper term, Nate, is a fake out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of, I think, a few fake outs that we
Of
see in
maybe
this
too
movie.
many fake outs. I did want to say that the second moment that I caught was Finn, the next Finn Force moment of him sensing Kylo Ren. Like, Kylo Ren is too
Yes.
far away to see, and Poe goes like, "What's going on?" And Finn goes, "It's Ren."
Yeah.
Right. So it's again another lovely little
Oh,
nod. I like
really?
the
I didn't
details.
realize
I
that he
noticed
would have
that
been too far away.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think he was too far away for him to have noticed.
No, and
because even
he's right.
when Ray gets out to running into the sand, like he's still like not in eyesight, right? So
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and I think I think that is the gentle nod. It also just shows how new he is because she sensed it right away, and he's just like minutes later, like, oh, I sense it now.
So continuing to what's next, Justin? What did we see after Chewie just got killed?
So they're
by
on the
Rey?
ship. They're on their way.
They're hiding behind some asteroids or
yeah,
whatever.
they're trying to figure out what to do next because they realize that the dagger's actually with Chewie because he put it in his satchel.
yeah.
and 3PO stupidly on his part, I've got the translation. I just can't tell it to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd have to wipe my mind
Which
in order
is such
to do
a funny
that.
thing to do, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but it's 3PO. He's very literal.
No, I know.
He doesn't realize. He doesn't
Right.
know lying, and he doesn't
No.
know deception, right?
I
So
just
he's
mean
just
that
like,
he's been programmed to not translate any Sith language.
you know what? It is a plot device.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
It would be a very dangerous thing to have a robot maybe that could translate these
For
things.
sure.
So that's just in his data. That's in his wiring. And his,
I think he says something about a law being passed by the Senate.
Oh, okay, perfect. Right?
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
okay.
explain it.
Oh,
Cool,
geez. Well, like maybe Palpatine passed that law so that people couldn't
Absolutely.
unravel these secrets.
Absolutely.
There you go.
That actually is really cool. I
There
like
you
that
go.
connection.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
you just
I like that.
deepened that.
That's cool.
Very nicely.
So
So they're on the ship trying to figure out what to do next. They discover that he still has it stored in his memory banks. So Poe comes up with this idea of going to find someone.
he knows of somebody
Babu
who can.
Frick.
He knows of what do they call them? Underground droid.
Oh.
What was it? It was great. Droid dealers or something. It was very like drug dealery.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah.
But he knows it. Yeah. Babu Frick, like you picture this underlord, like this underworld, robot gangster guy. This is not what I pictured when they do finally meet him. But
Yeah.
so that's where they're going.
Yeah, so they
But he's
venture to-
also a little nervous about going to this planet because he,
Yeah.
again, has a history that we don't,
Don't
quite know. Yeah.
So the planet's called Kijimi.
Kijimi.
Completely under first order control.
Yes.
We learn later that it has been for a while. Like this is a terrible place for these citizens to live. For whatever reason, the First Order are tormenting the hell out of them. They take their kids. They do nightly raids.
Yeah. And
For whatever reason.
And you also kind of get the idea that this is another wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Sure.
Right? With all these different characters on there, right? And yeah, so they who do they run into?
Zori Bliss.
Zori Bliss.
Man.
I liked her.
She was in this for what, a total of 10 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
And she was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Kerry Russell was so good in this.
Yeah.
I loved her.
Kerry Russell.
Shoulder shrugs.
I wanted more of her.
Head nods. Oh, I want more of her. No. I want to see more of her.
Okay, yeah.
So in this
This is
brings
one
me
of many characters in this movie that I would love to explore more, even though I don't know if we will. I don't read comics, so it ain't happening.
Well, yeah, and that's no, but you bring up a really good point. She was obviously with other people when they confront Poe. Like she's with a group of people.
The crew.
That crew
That
essentially.
Poe obviously was a part of
Part of,
before
yeah.
he left to go fight in the Resistance.
And I think this is this is ample material for them to explore. Like I could see them doing a Disney.
Star
Disney
Wars,
Plus,
the crew.
Yeah.
a Disney Plus show. You could get Kerry Russell. She'd probably sign on for
Do you
something
think?
like
Do you
that.
think you could get? Oh, like, are we going back?
Yeah, it would be a back sort of thing. It would have to be
Because
a back
can
thing.
you get Poe?
Well, you could probably get Oscar Isaac.
Could you get Oscar?
Yeah, I think you could.
I don't know.
Well, I just think it's so like these more recent Disney Star Wars films to do that of sort of, hey, here's a character that we're not going to tell you too much about because we know we can make more money off of them
But is it
at a
is
later
it,
time.
No, but you brought it up already. It's the fact that characters were introduced and we didn't get any sort of backstory. We get very little about them. They're used as plot devices. She's used as a means to get them to Babu Frick.
But we get more about her than we do about a few other characters in this movie,
sure,
right?
but I think you get more about Poe than anything else.
True.
Poe
And we learn
his
that
relationship.
Poe used to be a spice runner.
Oh, you ran spices? You were a spice runner.
I love that.
Oh,
Finn
what?
just-
Apparently
Finn just
that's
You
follows
were a stormtrooper?
Yeah.
that
So
was
like,
great,
is that? So I guess that's a seedy business.
spice running. It's
yeah.
like drug running.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Spices drugs in
Okay,
because
okay.
even in the Mandalorian we talked about like you can what's his name Grief Karga telling the Mando like just buy yourself a camtono of spice and when you come off of that you'll be flying through hyperspace or whatever he says.
Right.
So,
You're right.
Yeah. So clearly it's drugs.
It's drugs. Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
he was a drug dealer. That's very interesting. So Zori Bliss takes them to Babu Frick.
Yes.
And
Quick thing, just before we get to Babu, they walk through the droid repair shop. Neat little cameo that I caught.
Don't you dare steal my I spotted this. I'm a genius.
Give it, Kevin.
No, you got it. You brought it up first. On the count of 3.
Ready?
John Williams.
Oh, really?
He's the eye patch bartender who shakes his head at them walking by.
He gives a nod.
Really?
Yeah, so cool.
Oh, amazing.
So cool.
I did not catch that on the second watch.
And it was great that they finally, they're like, cool, we're going to get him on the screen.
Let's get him in a Star Wars movie. He
behind
deserves it more than anybody.
sound you've ever heard.
That's awesome.
And it was super cool to see that moment. Yeah,
that's cool.
I love that. And then we meet Babu Frick.
Everybody wants to talk about Babu Frick. He's the new Baby Yoda.
Oh, the new Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda is literally just introduced, and new Baby Yoda comes out. Babu Frick is the best parts of Baby Yoda and Watto combined together, and I never thought that I needed that more in my life than I do after seeing this character. And he, by the way, he's voiced, I don't know if you guys know this.
I don't know who this person is.
It's voiced by a woman.
Shirley Henderson. And the reason this is relevant, Justin, is she is Moaning Myrtle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can kind of hear it a little bit now that you think about it, right? That's kind of like,
Sure.
So, dude, Babu Frick is awesome. He was the best of the new characters that didn't have actual dialogue in this movie. And I say actual dialogue by the sense of like words that, like Zori Bliss or Janna, right? Like out of all of them, I liked him way more than I did Dio. And I wasn't expecting him to be even in this movie. We didn't even know about him until then. So.
Well, you see him, but you don't know what, like you see him in one shot or whatever. And I actually hated the look of him in any still image I saw. I was like, oh, this thing's
Babu.
I was like, this thing's gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
And he was so completely the opposite.
He was hilarious.
And I loved how he went from not speaking English to like it's almost like he was picking up words along the way to say.
Yeah. So he's effectively the one that's going to hack the brain of 3PO to get the translation, but it comes at a cost.
Fake out number 2.
3PO is going to lose his memory and he won't remember anyone.
So we get that part of 3PO sort of just looking and, what you doing there, 3PO? Taking one last look, sir, at my friend.
Well,
Did you cry?
Here's the thing. I probably started to get to that place where I was going to tear up, but then Dio ruins it by going, sad. And I was just like,
but I think it's
why play that for a joke in that moment?
Because
it's so important.
Because it wasn't going to be important in the long run.
Which again, I don't.
I'd rather them not kill my beloved characters just for the sake of making it.
Sure, I agree.
Just for the sake of introducing death.
Right. But are we going to see them again?
But I mean, this was a really cool. This was the first time.
But it wasn't even that he was.
This was the first time
lose his memory, right? Like he just wouldn't have.
He wouldn't. That's essentially dying.
I guess
that's dying.
Yeah,
because we see when he does come back that he's not the 3PO that has been around for 5 movies.
Right.
This was the first time 3PO was selfless and brave. He was afraid to do it. He didn't want to do it. And then he said, you know what? If all of these memories are worthless if we don't get the job done, I will do this for the team.
But then at the very last moment, he's like, I thought of another way.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's a good joke.
That's a good joke. Yeah. I also like that Rey poses the question that you know the odds better than anyone else.
That was cool.
Is there another
option?
Awesome.
She used his.
Right.
She used his. Yeah.
And that's what pushed him into it.
Yep.
For the person that's always dictating the odds,
that was a really cool way to finally get
and
that.
And then he says, selflessly, like he has to do it. So
I thought it was good. Cool. I thought this was like such a great 3PO movie.
Yeah,
I've always been annoyed by 3PO. Yeah. But he was used really well in all of his scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
A lot of those C-3PO lines felt very much like Anthony Daniels being himself, being very riffy and sort of, and I feel like they allowed him to keep that in there a little bit more because he's done literally barely anything in these last 2 movies. Right?
When you said that after, I was like, oh, that's a cool way to look at that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a nice way to pay tribute to the guy who's been literally the only person who's been in all 9. You know what I mean?
It was cool to see him sort of play off the idea of like, I'm important too. Like, I'm C-3PO because Anthony Daniels in real life is so... he's so...
he's proud of his work.
Yeah, to say the least.
To say the least. I don't like how he comes off. Like, when we saw that Star Wars... I don't know if it is.
Yeah. So Babu Frick goes,
So, like,
And then-
I did it, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
I love
was
it.
there a risk this wasn't going to work, Babu? Because
Yeah. And then 3PO sits up, red eyes, and starts naming off the coordinates for the Sith Wayfinder, I guess.
Yeah, where they're going to go
a
find
little
Rey.
riddle, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because Lando does say that there's two.
Yes.
In the earlier scene, he establishes that there's two.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess wherever the first one was being kept, that we saw Kylo at the opening, that's what he was there for.
Yep.
That's what we established.
And in the last part of his line, which we'll get back to later, only this blade tells is what he says twice. So he says a bunch of gobbledygook about the moon on Endor
And something from the shore.
codes and something about the shore, and then he finishes by saying twice, only this blade tells. Only this blade tells. So we'll see what that means a little later.
Interesting. Okay, so I know that the First Order ends up showing up at Kijimi. I guess they tracked them. I don't know.
Yeah, because we see when they fly away from the asteroid after deciding that they're going to go get 3PO's
Right,
mind
that's right.
erased, they fly off, and then you see
Another ship trail them.
Yeah.
Yes,
The
that's right.
what my brother called it. It's like they're driving. The Knights of Ren are driving around in a space hot rod.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
like,
that's the Knights of Ren. That's right.
It's
that's
like
right.
it's
right.
it's a pretty cool, unique looking vehicle.
So the Knights of Ren have led the First Order there, and obviously, I think this is the moment where once they start to hear the noise and the sort of kerfuffle outside, Rey runs upstairs from the droid lab, opens the door and sees Ren's ship, and then Force was able to
Senses.
sense that Chewie's
Chewie's there.
actually on board.
Yeah, no, just really quickly because I do want to carry on, but we see Poe and Zori go up on the roof to keep watch before this,
Right.
and that's where we establish a little bit about
Yes.
their connection in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she says, she wants to run away from this place. She's got a token that can get her through any security
Blockades
blockade.
and- yeah.
And she asks him to come with him, and you can tell he would love to. They've obviously got this really strong love history. Something went wrong, yada yada. And he says, "I can't leave this war." Right. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout out because we kind of referenced it, but to get into a deeper moment, that is the sort of stuff that I liked, where we're kind of unraveling a little bit more about our characters and the relationships that they have with these, slightly.
Well, and then she opens her
underused
mask,
characters.
and you see her eyes, and
Yes,
she's
'cause
very
she looks-
emotive
yeah,
with
'cause
those eyes.
because she's looking at him sincerely and saying, "Do you want to come with
Yeah.
me?" Right. I think that's.
But then Rey senses Kylo's coming.
Yeah.
She
Well,
realizes
alerted. Yeah, she's alerted based on all the sounds. and
right.
stuff,
She
yeah.
she realizes Chewie's on the ship.
Yeah.
And
And
they
we
have
already
to
got
go.
that. We got that scene beforehand where we acquired a prisoner.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
So they were towing the Falcon.
Yeah.
So they've got not only got our bloody ship.
Yes.
But we've got a prisoner. There's Chewie, and so that's where the whole second transport comes into play.
Yes,
yada yada.
exactly.
But so now it's how the hell are they going to sneak their way onto Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer?
Right. And that's where Zori Bliss actually offers up her token to get them in.
It's pretty what is it about? Because she says your friends need this or whatever. You know, she sees something instantly
Because I think
this connection with that Poe has in this battle.
I think it's because of the fact that she asked him. He said, "I can't leave the war," and I think she was almost inspired by his passion to want to see this through and for the good. And
It's that Han Solo archetype,
Mentality,
the scoundrel with a heart, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So she
That's
gives
exactly
them her token that can get through anything, and it's going to get them on the ship.
right.
Very
And so-
selfless.
Yeah, and they take a ship up there. How do they get onto the ship though? I forgot.
They use the token.
Right, but sorry, how do they get to the ship?
They take Ochi's ship.
They take Ochi's ship. That's right.
Yeah, they've
So
been
they
flying
go-
around in this 30-year-old hunk of junk that's
Yeah,
still
right.
man, stuff was built well back in the day, you know?
Yeah,
That's sat in the desert sun for 30 years and still ran no problem.
Yeah, so then they find themselves on Ren's Star Destroyer. Kind of a familiar place, I guess. It's almost it felt a little bit, the way it was shot, it almost felt like we were back with The Force Awakens, when we enter the Star Destroyer post coming off, and then Finn crosses, and it just kind of, and they run off, and someone's like, where's the prison cells? I don't know. That's Finn's response.
Well, I just like how once they got on there, it was just a run and gun. We don't know what the heck we're gonna do. They're not sneaking around. And they shoot a few stormtroopers, and it's like, no, we're not going to get into the stormtrooper costumes like our heroes in Episode 4. It's like, no,
Right.
it was kind of like, will they, will it? Nope. We're just running and gunning this sucker.
Well, there's that moment where they see these two stormtroopers come up and stop them, and I thought that moment actually worked so much better than in the trailer, because having seen the trailer a few times and seeing that line where she does the mind trick and Poe turns to Finn and is like, did she do that on us, right? But I think it works so much better because of the performances by the stormtroopers.
Their delivery of those lines are unbelievable.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm so relieved that you're here.
Yeah. Oh, hey guys, welcome. Like they're just so like, it's great. I thought they were gonna offer them like a cup of tea at some point. Like it was so good.
Like this is where another instance of where JJ gets Star Wars, and that it's such a great nod to the first time we see somebody use the Force, and it's these are not the droids you're looking for.
It actually reminded me so much of the line with Han Solo when he's clicks the button and it's like, no, everything's fine here, nothing to worry about.
Do you know that he forgot the line?
Oh, really?
And so he's just riffing, and they're like, and it's because it does feel a little out of place. It's the only time where he's like that in that movie, or anybody is like that in that movie.
Yeah.
Right? Everything else is a bit more wooden.
Yeah.
But so he just riffed it, and they were like, yeah, that's funny as hell.
That's
We'll
great.
use that. Yeah.
That's
Cool.
Good. That's a good clip.
So another funny moment there.
So Rey has to part ways from Poe and Finn because she senses the dagger is somewhere else on the ship.
And she knows she needs the dagger to complete the mission.
That's 100% why they're there. It's not just to get Chewie, but like it is also to get that dagger. That leads Rey into the Smithsonian.
Such a cool room.
Yeah.
I don't understand that Kylo, this Dark Lord, right? And you always see him in dark rooms, and like on his Seven when he's worshiping the mask, it's in this dark black. All of a sudden, he's in this like beautiful white
room. That's why it's like I think it's just because it feels like a museum. Like when you think of like an art gallery, it's always all white.
And they
right?
instantly put that art of the knife, the dagger in there,
and the way the Darth Vader head is on display in there.
This scene is so wicked.
Yeah.
This scene is so wicked.
The fight that they're fighting through the Force time.
It's one of my favorite lightsaber battles ever.
I think
really
I
cool.
would argue it's probably the best one in the movie. So I think I actually really enjoyed that, and I like that they, at moments it obviously looked and felt like they were fighting together, but to have that back and forth of like he's on the streets, she's in his chambers.
It was cool.
Yeah, it was
so cool.
And
the first time they slice the beans and they scatter on her floor, and they're like, oh.
On the ship, it was super cool. Like the coloration there, the red to the white. I that fight, yes, was fantastic. The back and forth was really great.
And does he tell her something important here?
No,
or does he starts to, right?
He's egging her on.
Well,
and
no, he
he's
tells her
saying,
that her parents were nobody because they chose to be,
Nobody,
right?
yes.
He said, "I never lied to you."
Yeah, I never lied to you. Yeah, but I know more to your story.
Screw you, Ryan Johnson, number 3.
Yeah.
Remember that stupid thing? Like, I mean, unless this was always going to be the payoff.
Well, we'll see.
Technically,
Who
he
knows?
did lie to her because they weren't gamblers and
I
drunks.
mean, I almost like this. It's kind of like when Obi-Wan, you lied to me. You told me my father was killed by Anakin or by Darth Vader.
Well, he
in a
was.
certain matter of thinking.
In a
right?
certain way,
Yeah, so
yes, he
I
was.
didn't lie to you, right? So
Right,
maybe,
yeah.
So he says, "I'm going to come up and tell you."
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
after she knocks his helmet into hers, right?
Right.
Into his world.
And he
right?
knows
He's like,
where-
oh, that's where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he picked it up? Do you think like as he walked off camera, he's like, "I better
See,
pick this
that's
up."
my thing
I
about
wonder,
it. Though.
do we ever see it again? Probably not. No, there's no need to see
Well,
it
but
again.
so did it actually shatter or did it fall? Because it looked like it shattered in her room, but it fell.
No,
on
I
the
think
ground
the
in his.
stand
shattered.
and
And
the
then
helmet
it
scattered
landed.
onto him.
Yeah, which is it's interesting because like those sort of elements were, is that really happening or is that just an element of?
No, I think they're
showing it.
Their
that it
dyad is
yeah.
getting so strong that
That
they're literally
elements-
crossing over more and more powerfully.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. He
alerts the ship, so now they all know that they're on the ship. So they're he says shut down the ship, right?
Yeah, yep. And then they all head back up there.
Well, yeah, but him alerting the ship is what gets the stormtroopers to capture
Finn and Poe.
Poe and Chewie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then that gets us our next scene.
So just before, like right after they get caught, Rey's on the ship, and then
I think she's heading to the ship, the Ochi.
Right, to Ochi's ship.
She's heading to Ochi's ship, runs into
C-3PO
yeah.
and BB-8. and Dio, and hands C-3PO the Wookiee bowcaster after firing a few shots at some stormtroopers.
With like she's the best at everything.
Yeah,
Eh?
and
4 shots, 4 kills,
and
nobody does that.
3PO goes, my first laser battle or something like that. Like he's so excited. It's so cute.
And I might be making something up here, but is this a little like, remember in Empire, Chewie carries 3PO around. Now 3PO's carrying Chewie stuff
like
around
that.
to him. I'm
That's
just gonna say that was intentional. But no, the line is what really makes that scene. Yeah.
And the only thing I'm disappointed by is, like, again, this is another marketing thing. In the poster, you see 3PO with the bowcaster.
Right.
And it was just, I just felt like I just wanted to see him
So
shoot someone. I thought that would have been so cool.
We'll dub this as fake out number 3 then.
Yeah. Kind of, right?
That he doesn't become a bounty. Well, because a lot of people said that
use the weapons.
when his eyes go red, he's got this programming that he's some super whip smart bounty hunter.
Yeah.
I like this better, honestly.
So we get back to Finn, Poe, and Chewbacca. Are caught, and you see Hux sort of walks up and says, "I want to do this myself."
What's he doing?
Well, so they captured by stormtroopers. The general that one of the generals, we meet him earlier, but General Pride. That's right. I mean, Richard E. Grant is not in this very much, but he is like that quintessential classic Star Destroyer general. He plays that role really well. Yeah. You know, it pays off in the end. I think he did enough to make it matter later on.
I think they needed to do that because if Kylo is going to kind of turn to the good side, and
we needed a villain on the ship,
and Hux is no longer a good villain at all. He's a baby boy.
He was ruined a bit in Force Awakens, and entirely destroyed in number 8.
Right. Yes. So he wasn't intimidating at this point, but we get to that point where they're about to be executed, and Hux says, "I want to do this myself." Holds the blaster up, and
you see our characters hear blaster fire.
Yeah.
And
stormtroopers are gone, or the First Order troopers are gone, and Hux reveals he is the spy.
And so, I am the spy.
I did not. That, if we're gonna talk weak moments in terms of the dialogue, like that just felt horrible.
It was really weird and forced.
It was just,
I am the spy.
Yeah, it was. I just felt like are they playing like Clue or something? Like playing a board game, like I am the spy, and it's like, oh man, and then
I think it's even there's no time. Let's go, right? I think it's just we gotta go.
Poe saying like, I knew it, and then Finn saying, no, you didn't. I'm like, yeah, no one did, because I don't think that's the.
Well, I mean, they set it up earlier in the boardroom when Kylo's talking about the fact that there's a spy, and you see Hux look at General Pride, right? And it's like, okay, which one of these two is it going to be?
Right.
Probably Hux.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of knew that he was the spy, right?
I was surprised. I was surprised when he said he was the spy.
Yeah, but as soon as he gives his reason too, right? Oh, I don't care if you win. I just want to make sure Kylo loses.
So
right?
that leads, he leads them back to the Falcon.
Yes,
and
like,
and
nice.
then
he should have just gone with them.
Yeah, Hux says
you were toast at this point, bro.
Well, Hux says you got to shoot me, so they at least think that it was a forced sort of escape.
Yeah, shoot me in the arm,
and he shoots him in the leg instead. And then that's when again another fake out here, where Hux says to Finn, "I don't care who wins or who loses. I just don't want Ren to win."
Why is that a fake out?
Well, because I think it by saying he was a spy, I feel like the audience's immediate reaction is more so that he's on their side now.
I don't think that would have been true to the character.
Yeah.
How would that character who gives that super Hitler speech in episode 7 all of a sudden be a good guy, right? He's not a good guy.
That's true.
He wants the First Order for himself, if anything.
Right.
He just wants Ren out of there.
Right. Okay. That's fair. That's a fair point.
So Rey is running out, and
and
she gets caught by Kylo, and they have that epic moment. And this is just the part where Kylo explains the entire,
her lineage.
The 3-movie mystery. Yeah,
it's the no, I am your father moment of this movie.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
And so she finds out that she is a Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine had a son.
Yeah,
Which
we were
raises...
discussing this after. Okay. When did this happen?
Yeah, so this is also another thing that could and probably shouldn't be explored in any sort of extra platform medium.
I'm not obsessed with like finding out every single detail of things. I just need to know, okay, so we had a couple kids. They had a daughter. He has a granddaughter. He had her parents killed.
Well, it was his son. So
yes,
her
okay,
father,
yes, sorry,
her father.
I guess he didn't have a boy and girl.
and they
They Game of Thrones style had a kid,
But
right?
I think this comes back to something that I kind of was hoping that wouldn't. I was hoping that her lineage would 100% be Palpatine, but not like the traditional, Palpatine had a son, because that raises more questions.
Well, do you think he was at a, he's at a bar on Mos Eisley Cantina, looks over at some lady and is just like, hey, let's do it.
Well, because we were breaking it down, and it was like, okay, let's say his son is 35, couldn't be older than that.
Yeah.
So that means it either happens after Jedi, or after if he's even 35,
right?
This is like Return of the Jedi.
This is face melted Palpatine
having.
So here's the only way that I can
maybe he just created.
Think. Yes, it's he forced a baby in through the Force.
He Anakin'd it again.
Yeah.
No, but the thing, and so this brings me to the point. If that was the case, then that wasn't properly identified, because they made it pretty cut and dry that in his little monologue speech, Palpatine had a son, and you are his daughter.
But he didn't say Palpatine had sex with a woman and had a son. He said he had a son.
Right, but I think then, again, it still raises more questions. I would have rather them just be super clean and put a bow on it and say, just like he created, Anakin, if you're going to reference
but that never gets confirmed whether it was him or if it was the Force that made Anakin.
Regardless, let's say we drop that. Let's say a little cleaner in the sense of Palpatine made you. Palpatine made you by using the Force to,
we don't have time to get into this elaborate biology lesson of how the Force works in this particular instance.
I don't think you need
is the
to.
problem.
I don't think you need to, because
we
there's
just know
life.
There's a lot
they've
of
already hinted at the idea that she's passing life through to heal, right? So he could theoretically pass life through another person to birth a child, right? Like, I think there's always been that sort of suspicion around.
But I think
Vader.
I think to Kevin's point, I don't think Kylo Ren in that moment had the ability to even describe a situation like that.
Right. Okay. So then
he had enough time. He had enough time to say that, he had a son and you are his daughter.
Yeah,
right?
that's two sentences and it's over.
Right. But
what you're looking for is like a 20-sentence explanation.
I'm looking for he used the Force to bring you to life.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
That's all. Right?
I hear you.
So
I think it could have been more nuanced, but
I think it could have been. I just think that it leaves so many questions open. As
But I don't think how it works is important. It's you're a Palpatine. That's what we need to take out of this. That's really the important part. You can go back after, and maybe it can be explored.
Sure.
There's another one of the many hundreds of things that we can explore in comics and all these things, right?
But he also says, I offered you my hand. I wanted you to take my hand. He also explains, we are a dyad in the Force, and we'll use this to destroy Palpatine.
I apologize for having used the dyad thing throughout the episode already, but it's so essential.
Right, that's the moment where we're introduced to the concept of a dyad in the Force.
Well, but the thing is, doesn't Palpatine as Snoke create this dyad? Because he says, I was the one who enabled you in Last Jedi. He says, I was the one who enabled you to be able to do that. I allowed you to communicate and reach each other, right? So I take it as Palpatine created this dyad between them, and it's going to be very important at the end.
Right, but at the end, though, it also seems like it's a shock to him that their connection is that way.
No, but that it turned out to be what it is. I mean, I think we theorize later.
So they escape off of the ship. There's this really epic moment where the Falcon comes up and uses the thrusters to blow everyone back.
Kylo looks like such a badass
in
in this.
He's like holding on to using the Force.
Surfing.
And then Rey does some insane space jump.
She Mary Poppin.
She
kind of Mary Poppin
into the ship, and they get away, and that leads them to
Endor.
Woo!
Yes, we're getting closer to the end here, folks. So
the Endor.
Well,
it's a moon on Endor, right? It's not actually Endor. It's not the same place.
Is it? Yeah.
No, Endor was a moon. Maybe this is Endor. I think this is Endor itself. Because this is where I got into a 15-minute long argument with my brother, and then Googled it, and it's the forest moon of Endor is a forest moon surrounding the planet of Endor. So I would assume if something in the air blew up over this
It's
moon,
landing
it
on
would
Endor.
land on Endor.
It
So I
does
think
say
we're
Endor.
finally on Endor.
It does say Endor. So
Okay.
yeah, we're finally on Endor.
It's not the forest moon Endor.
Endor.
It's the forest moon
Of
of Endor.
Endor.
There might be a
You're right.
desert moon of
You're right.
Endor and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
But so yeah, I think this is Endor.
Well, because they reference it as Endor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I think we're finally. It's cool. We get
Yeah.
to visit Endor.
Yeah. Well, it's another. Yeah, we're back.
I'm going to go on the record and say it's either Endor or it's another moon of Endor.
But they didn't say that.
They didn't say we're on the
Far
water
moon.
moon of Endor.
I think they said. Anyways, we'll get it. We'll keep going. It's just that planet's. Yeah. No, you're right. Okay.
So they come hurtling onto the planet.
Yep.
We see
Their
somebody on a
landing gear
horseback.
doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Rey said to Finn, "I'm going to destroy Palpatine. He killed my mother. He killed my father too. I'm going to destroy Palpatine." And you get this sort of sense of like, yeah, she's losing it. She's losing it. And then so they land. They slide that awesome landing. And who do we meet?
We meet Yana.
Janna.
I call her Yana, Jana. I'm pretty sure they called her Yana though.
I don't think so. I think it's Janna.
Okay, maybe it's Jana. I just call her Yana. They meet Jana, and this is where we discover.
Well,
that,
she instantly goes, "Are you with the Resistance?"
right
You know. Oh, that depends.
defensive. Yeah,
You know, but that depends. You know, and they're instant allies.
Right.
You know, I like that.
Yeah.
No beating around the bush. Who are they? Are they good? They're bad. Nope, they're good. What can we do to help you?
it's
Yeah.
and that's
We don't have
exactly
time to D around, right? Let's go.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. And she ends up helping them, I think, fix the ship.
Yeah, they've got some spare parts. She brings one to Finn. He says, "Wait a minute, this is from a Star Destroyer."
Yeah.
And she explains that it's actually the Star Destroyer that they escaped
Well-
the First Order.
Sorry, we did skip over the moment that I think you wanted to come back to with the dagger.
Let's finish this, and then I'll get to the
Okay,
damn
go ahead.
dagger. So yeah, she explains that they were a group of stormtroopers that mutinied after they were given an order to kill a village, and they said, "We're not going to do this."
Yep.
And
It's
this is
funny. It's a village too, just very similar.
But
to
I
what-
think that's what the First Order just goes around doing.
Yeah.
Look at what they were doing on Kajimi, right?
Yeah.
That's what they do. They go
Yeah.
around and terrorize people.
Yeah,
But I like that. I like that idea that she says, they all laid down their weapons. She's like, I don't even know how it happened. Like she's kind of describing, like, I don't even know how this came to be, but we all made the decision subconsciously. And Finn starts to kind of explain to her, like, no, that's the
it's a
Force.
feeling. Well, he
That's
describes
the
it as
Force.
a feeling.
But he knows it's the Force in that moment, and of course we've kind of figured that out later.
Yes.
But I thought that was cool because I'm wondering if that happened around the time of TFA. Like I'm wondering if they had that moment at the same time,
Interesting.
together, but in different areas in the universe.
Yes, that's true.
But so they instantly have this connection, and it's again, it's more of a connection that they share than Finn and Rose ever did.
yeah, I agree.
I really think so.
Yeah.
And it was one scene.
Yep.
And it only strengthens throughout the rest of the movie.
Absolutely.
You know, I love that it becomes their destiny to confront their troubled past together.
Yep.
That's great stuff. That's
Yeah.
character building. That's
Exactly.
relationship building, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Something that should have been in episode 8.
But so so this is where the worst thing of this movie, in my opinion, the one thing I hate is this stupid dagger. It makes no sense.
So the daggers brought them to Endor, and now they're going to use this dagger to find out the exact location in the remnants.
Because they see a giant chunk of the Death Star there.
and she somehow clues in that it's like some sort of like
Compass.
or
yeah, but I mean, first it's from the shore, or only this knife, right? Only this blade.
Yeah.
She realizes that the shape of the blade lines up to a certain fragment of the ship, and then pulls out. You know, because again, people in Star Wars know how to do everything and know how everything works. So
you see her
obviously,
clue in that there's,
obviously, there's a hidden compass
Yeah.
in this thing that's going to point to where on the. But I hate this dagger, man, because it looks like an ancient dagger, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But it can't possibly be ancient because
it would have been made.
it's targeting the location on
Right.
this crashed part of the Death Star.
But do you think it was intentionally made to throw people off? Right.
It was made to look like an evil Sith dagger. Who made the dagger? Who made the dagger?
That's a Disney
Why
Plus
did they make
series
the
coming.
dagger?
Yeah.
That's going to be a Disney Plus
Star
series.
Wars, the dagger.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, I hate. I don't want to call it a MacGuffin, but it's
It was.
It's a forced. It could have been. You could have led them there on a treasure hunt with anything other than this stupid blade.
Right.
I just hate it.
Yeah,
I just hate it. And if somebody could write in and explain to me, their theory on how this blade could have been made and by whom and why it would lead them to a crashed ship, and I just didn't like it.
Interesting.
So then they discover that Rey has taken a skimmer off into the water, even though she was told it was too dangerous. But she says, "I don't care. I'm Rey. I can do whatever I want. I'm the best."
Well, because this is where the timeline comes in, right?
Yeah.
Jonna says, "Let's go in the morning."
Yeah.
And I think we've got 8 hours left or something. We can't wait for the morning.
Right.
This is where that timeline is so important.
Yeah, and so Rey takes the skimmer and gets out there, and then
she does her parkour and like climbs up things and like gets to where she needs to
Right.
go.
At least it's not a new thing, right?
No, it's something that feels very familiar to The Force Awakens.
right
When she's
in those moments
jumping
she knows how to navigate an Imperial ship.
And isn't it? What I found, especially the second time watching this scene, is like this is just a tiny little fragment of the Death Star, and it's just still so immense. Like how big was the Death Star that this tiny little piece of it was? It's so cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like a moon, right?
Yeah.
So
so cool.
and that leads her into, I guess it is the throne room.
It's the Emperor's throne room.
Yeah,
I
it's the
believe.
Emperor-
Yeah,
it's the
yeah,
Emperor's
because you
throne
see
room.
it. You see,
You
and
see
the
his
window
original
that he
chair.
would have looked out. Your friends, Yeah.
And the music's playing, the old school Jedi music, the slow Imperial March.
And she gets to have her Dagobah Luke moment in a way of
Yes.
confronting her evil side.
Yes.
Which we all got fooled by in the marketing and the trailers to be like, is she going to turn evil? Is she not?
no,
But
knew
did
that.
we? I think
I knew
everybody
we knew that.
instantly went,
Yeah,
no,
it's
that's
a
not right.
vision.
I was the one who was
Yeah.
like, what if it isn't, right? Just to really throw us
What a
off.
twist.
But Disney also screwed up when they had something on the website said, like a description of the trailer, it was like Rey's vision, and then they
Yes.
took that down like 2 hours later or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of gave it away.
But I think it wasn't too. I think we all knew it was
I
just a
knew it.
vision, right?
Right, because at the
And it's
idea
funny,
too-
after she gets shot out of the room by it, it's just gone, right? Like it was a very quick little. Come on, embrace yourself.
Yeah,
dark
and it was
side.
also like the House of Mirrors again.
Here she's confronting what she thinks she's going to become, right, and that there's that evil Rey with the sharp teeth, and I think you said, Justin, she had a Bilbo moment or something.
Yeah, when she kind of
She
lunges and
Yeah.
her face goes like all snarly.
That was great. That was
Yeah, it was
really
cool.
good.
That was cool.
I thought it was neat.
Cool.
Yeah. She would have been a badass Sith, though, eh? Like,
Oh yeah, she would have been.
like
She
a
would have
cool,
been
yeah.
super cool.
But so she gets
I want
shot
that
out of the
lightsaber.
room with the Wayfinder
right.
because she finds it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
obviously.
found it in that room.
She found the way. And as the Wayfinder goes scattering across the floor, it's grabbed by a glove of who else?
Darth Vader. No, Kylo Ren.
Who then proceeds to just crush it. Just crushes it in his hands.
Another great Daisy Ridley scream, like her just utter despair that this whole journey has just been for nothing.
But I
crushed
also
in his hands.
like there's a brief subtle thing that again, shout out to the acting. We're going to keep bringing it up, but where Rey, before he crushes the Wayfinder, Rey goes, give it to me, and she says it like that, right? And Kylo sort of like moves back a little bit, very subtly, as if to show like he's scared of her in that moment. Like he's not.
He can't trust her.
He
doesn't
cannot.
trust-
He's like,
Well, think about it.
Do I really want her to go to the dark side in this moment?
Well, because he also can see the fact that she's probably going to be a threat to him.
Yeah.
But like the fact that he witnessed her send electricity and blow up, the freighter in the sky.
Yeah.
After that, it's kind of like, okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think he's been intimidated by her since Force Awakens.
Yes.
Right.
That's
You
true.
know, and it's
he knew the power that he was dealing
yeah,
with.
and it's only and he's watching her. Even though he's getting stronger, she's getting even more strong and powerful, and the fact that he knows she's a Palpatine now is probably really rocking him.
Yeah.
And then we get into
Lightsaber duel.
the fight.
Yeah, this was I guess the quintessential. Yeah, this was I guess the quintessential lightsaber battle. Like it was the big one because I don't think we get another one after.
We really don't.
No, we
You
see
kind of
some
expect one, but you
Yes.
don't get your traditional, which is
Exactly.
kind of neat.
Right.
There's
Lightsaber on lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Two people straight up, and this was quite the battle.
And it's interesting because you end episode 3 with a big battle. You
Right.
end episode 6 with a big battle.
Right,
You get 2/3 of the way through, and you get your battle in this one.
right, exactly.
And it works with the story, but
Yeah.
yeah, this was our these two showing off. This was the craziest thing about these trailers is how 90% of it was in the beginning of the movie, And this, is going to be a big battle just from the trailers, and you're going, "Wow, this isn't even the climax. Like, it's crazy."
I think
right?
too, like the visual. I think I agree with you when you said that their favorite lightsaber battle was the one on Kijimi. I think visually for me that was my favorite. Justin, you said that. I think for sheer just lightsaber on lightsaber action, this was probably the best one in terms of like you just see them. There's so many like powerful, huge strikes, like overhead strikes, and even just the use of force grabbing the lightsabers.
Have you ever like if you're doing yard work and you're digging and like your hand gets sore, so you have to like hold the shovel a different way and stuff, and they start holding the sabers different, just to, their bodies are getting sore and tired, and like they're feeling the impact of these
you
blows,
start to see it.
right?
You start to see it, especially with Rey. Like,
and Kylo's beating her down.
She's
right?
slowing down on her blows, and like she's switching hands with her saber, and she's just going side.
She shakes her hand a little bit out at one point, right?
Yeah.
And
that's what I mean. Yeah,
she does that epic flip over that one wave, and then you just see Kylo just walk right through the wave, just like, and giving Rey a look like, are we really still doing this? Like, are we really still having this conversation?
And so then he comes up and he is pissed.
Yeah.
Like he is hitting her.
He beats her down. He beats her down. It's very reminiscent of The Force Awakens.
And this is
just the opposite.
And this is kind of where I think we shoot over to Leia, right?
Yes, and we get that line that granted, you're gonna get mad at me because I think this should have been done better, but I don't know how I could have. But yeah, Maz sort of gives that line like, Leia puts her hand down and starts walking away, and Maz,
she knows what she has
Maz
to do.
goes, Leia knows what must be done. I guess the only way that I'm kind of a little more okay with that is the fact that Maz Kanata is also force sensitive.
Is she?
So yes, because they established that in TFA that she sort of feels the force around her, and that she kind of has that line of like the force is in everything.
She's got an understanding,
right? So there's that carryover.
Rather than create some scene, this is how they explain it to us. I liked it. I was fine with it.
I was at first. I think it felt a little cheap,
a little wonky.
Yeah, and then I think watching it the second time, I was like, you know what, that's how else are you going to do this? But yeah, the lightsaber duel I thought was interesting. It showed a more I thought a more real, organic sort of nature between the two of them. Like the things that we were already mentioning. Like how they're getting tired and switching hands and the wrists are hurting. Like I know it's like very small medial stuff, but like it just those little elements made it seem that much more real and organic.
I liked it.
So then so she sort of there's this moment where Rey is beaten down, Kylo Ren is about to strike, Leia you see lie down, which by the way, when she lies down, in her hand
she's holding the medal.
She's holding the medal. No,
she's holding Han's
medal.
For sure.
So
it's Han's medal.
For sure.
100%.
Which is why it got
Beautiful.
passed to Chewie, right?
Whoa, spoiler. No, I'm kidding.
We're gonna get to that.
So,
Justin.
but like I didn't notice it the first time.
Yeah.
I wondered where Maz got it from.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll get back to that for sure near the end. But yeah, so she lays down and you just hear her voice go, Ben. And he stops. And then Rey uses...
Were you guys surprised you didn't see her?
No.
Because she's kind of doing what Luke did, right? At the end of Force Awakens, or The Last Jedi. Like this is, again, JJ going, okay, I'll use this element for my story.
Mm-hmm. But we'll get to what I think she was doing.
Is she too weak?
No,
to do it? Okay, cool.
No,
I'd love to hear it.
We'll get to it. But before that, Rey uses that opportunity to then...
Because he turns around when he hears the voice.
To then stab him right in the stomach.
With his own bloody
saber. And again, this is another moment that's so cool where they're using... Like, she's using the red lightsaber to do the evil thing. And you see that connection there. And so...
Did you guys think...
Did you guys think he was dead for sure? I don't know. I think after...
Right? Oh, yeah. See, I don't know what I felt. I was kind of like, okay, here we go.
I kind of, like,
did you instantly go, oh, she's just going to force heal him?
No.
Okay,
no, I
good.
didn't.
I just want to know that. Yeah.
No, I didn't because I didn't think that she was going to be stabbing him in the first place.
Right.
So when it happened, I was taken aback. I did really appreciate though that instant regret that she had in the moment where she realizes she didn't just technically kill Kylo Ren.
She
killed Ben. And she killed Leia in a way.
Well, no, but she didn't know that.
I think she felt it.
No, she felt it.
I think she definitely felt it.
She stabs.
But
him.
Leia had already died, didn't she?
No. So she stabs him, and then you see her once she stabs him. You see Leia's hand.
That's
fall,
right. Okay.
And then she goes Leia because
She actually
feels
says
it. In
it.
the Force.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
So she's realizing in that moment, she hasn't just killed Kylo Ren. She's killed Ben, and she's killed Leia. She's killed the Skywalkers.
But did she understand why she killed Leia in that moment? In that Leia was
I don't
closing
understand
her circle?
I think we're getting to this, but I don't understand what Leia was doing. Like, was
So-
she using the
But
Force?
you've got a theory.
So-
I would like to know.
So my theory is that 100% part of her holding on to Han's medallion was that she was using, in a way, through the Force, whatever. We'll not get too into the weeds of how to explain that. But she basically was holding on to his medallion, and she was the one that brought, in that moment for Ben, Han Solo back. And we get to hear that amazing moment of,
yeah, but
hey,
that's after.
Yeah, but this is after.
she's died.
What is she doing when she says his name? Why didn't she show up like Luke? Why did her voice kill? Just
So
saying
here's
her
my
voice
theory.
kill her.
Here's my theory: is that she was going to do what Luke did. She was going to project herself in a way,
But she was too weak.
but she
That's
was
what
too
I was,
weak.
yeah.
She was too weak. It took all of the Force in her to do it,
And he could feel that.
and he could feel that, right? And
it just caught him off guard.
And I also think that the reason why she ended up force healing him is that she kind of realized what just happened, that he was off his guard because he was feeling her. She felt it, and then she kind of like that remorse, that guilt of like, you know what, I can't.
Like, do you think?
Can't let you go. I can't let this happen when we both just lost someone that was hugely important to us, right? Like,
Sure. Well, no, but she doesn't want him to die.
no,
She
no,
doesn't. She took advantage of the moment and went, "Oh my goodness!" Like you said, the regret.
Yeah.
But like, okay, I just want to really solve this Leia thing. Did she? Was he so surprised by this and like because it takes him out of the moment? Is it because? I guess if you're close to somebody, you can sort of force talk to them, right? But would Rey have heard her voice? Would Rey have heard that Ben?
No, I think that
Would
was
it
for
have
him.
been like because everybody saw Luke when he was there, that projection, and was it such a projection for her to scream out loud, not in his head, but like out loud, Ben? Right? Like was that? I don't know. I'm just
I think it has something to do. It's hard, right? Like again, this is one of those things where there's like more questions than there are answers as to what actually went happened.
because the answer is the Force.
the Force. Okay,
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but and that again, another little issue I have with this movie is a lot of these things are the Force, right? And that's the answer for a lot of these things. But I don't know. I think maybe in that moment, and if we're gonna make up stuff here for the movie, I think in that moment, maybe before her hand fell down and she was dead, right before that, she used every ounce of strength she could to instill in Ben's memory Han Solo.
Sure.
Which we're going to get to in a second because there's a really important thing that happens, again, with Force healing. So Rey leans down. She instantly regrets what happened. He's dying. She puts his hand on his stomach.
He was so like he's just sitting there like he's dying. Is he thinking about his mother?
Yeah.
There's
defeated.
regret.
He's
There's
defeated,
just pure
100%.
defeat. He's not angry. He doesn't say anything. He just sits there in shock. It was awesome.
Yeah,
It just was,
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you guys notice that after she healed him, did you notice his scar disappeared?
I didn't the first time.
Neither
but the
did
second
I.
time
The
I was
second
like,
time
oh,
I was
his scar's
interested.
gone.
Yeah.
Cool. So
I thought
she,
that was so cool.
Yeah, that's a neat
It was
touch.
just a really again. That's another thing you bring up, the idea of like J.J. Abrams being really good at those the jokey, camaraderie, character building. But I also think J.J. Abrams is a master when it comes to little tiny details, and I think this was just another example.
Well,
of that.
like that, if you're healing a wound and that is a wound, why wouldn't
It
that
would.
yeah.
It makes sense, but it's a great moment.
yeah, that's cool. I didn't even notice.
But
that.
it also eliminates the last interaction that they had in a major fight, right? Of her striking him and causing that.
So
scar. She's almost saying, I'm forgiving you, Ben.
Well, that's actually a really good point. I think that's what that act really does kind of symbolize is
Yeah.
the forgiveness,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Well, and then she explains to him, I wanted to take your hand, but not Kylo's, right? Or-
no, but I wanted to take Ben's
Ben's
hand.
Ben's
yeah.
hand. And then she runs off. It gets
Steals
into
his ship.
Steals his ship. And
Like, that's kind of a dick move.
which, like, I guess he's got more than one because one of them was destroyed at this point, right?
What's that?
TIE fighters?
Was it?
Well, yeah,
that's
I
right.
know.
So
Was it
what-
another TIE fighter though? I don't
So
think
does
it
he
was
have?
the
I
same
guess he
one.
has more than
It
one.
wasn't like that really pointy one, was it?
No.
It was another TIE
It was a
fighter.
different one?
It was,
Yeah,
it was a first
general.
order black TIE
It was his
fighter,
old
yeah.
one that he had.
Yeah. It was
Sure,
his
why not?
beater. It was
But I
his
guess if the
beater.
one got
not?
destroyed, he would need a new ship. But
Yeah.
I like that he must have taken the Wayfinder from the Rebel of the ship that crashes on
Yeah,
the
he would've
sand
had to
planet.
have.
He grabbed it and put it in this one, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, how else would it have gotten into this new TIE fighter?
Whoa.
So I like that
That's
he-
a plot hole that like.
It's not but I guess like they had the battle in the sky, right?
Yeah.
The ship, the thing blows up. They run away, and he's like, "Oh shit, I better go grab that before I go anywhere else."
Yeah,
right?
I guess that's the only logical explanation for that. But like it could be seen as.
But
a
you
bit of a
you
plot
almost
hole.
with the plot hole situation, you almost wonder, is this like were the scenes mixed around somehow that
Right.
wasn't caught in editing or what have you? Anyways, so they
So from there, we
She
see-
runs off.
She
She
runs off,
and
and she goes back to
and Kylo stands up.
yes,
Yeah.
Kylo, yeah.
yep. Kylo stands up, and we have these
Goosies.
but we have this. What's really interesting, I just want to set this up, is that we have these scenes where both characters are being kind of spoken to from ghosts or memories that are of mentors of figures in their life.
Yeah, but who?
Well, she has her scene with Luke.
Yeah, but this is far different. The
No, I
Luke
know.
one's way different.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that the way they're cut is they're cut kind of back to back, right? Because she has her interaction with him, and then they go to Ren, who's standing there.
No. We see Ren and we see Kylo do his first.
Yeah,
Oh, big time.
yeah, 100%.
yeah, okay.
It happens right there. She flies off. He's standing there,
And then you just
and
hear,
then you hear, "Oh, goosies, man."
"Hey kid,"
Yeah,
and you just what? Like literally sitting in the IMAX theater today, the guy next to me you could just hear him, "What?" and we see Han Solo come
What-
up.
Of all the cameos I expected, some didn't happen. This one, I wouldn't have bet on this one happening.
Especially
in
with
a million
Harrison
years.
Ford being so happy that he died in
He
TFA.
hated being in the movies originally.
Yeah.
Wanted to die in Empire.
Yeah.
Said, "Fine, just keep me alive." And then agreed to come back for TFA just because they said JJ was like, "I'll kill you, I promise."
This scene between these two characters was my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Oh wow.
100%. It was the scene where I felt the most. Again, I came out of the theater and was disappointed that I didn't get to cry in this movie. Watching it the second time in the IMAX theater, I did get close to tears with this moment.
So-
at that point,
what I like though is that the moment that they're sharing is based off of a memory. Like there's new lines added, but
Right.
most of it is shaped around
the
the exact same
moment.
The
The
moment
moment
that
that
and him being able to do something different than what he actually did.
he knows what he has to do.
Yes.
But I don't know if I can.
but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Right?
Well,
It's the exact
before
line.
this, I didn't catch it the first time, but I
Yeah.
loved where he Dad, and I know. Yes.
he doesn't even have to say "I love you."
No,
He
but
just looks at him.
but we get another Han Solo. I know.
Right.
Like,
I thought-
yeah, baby.
I thought he was
So
going to say,
powerful.
"Dad, I'm sorry."
No, but yeah, he was going to say either "Dad, I'm sorry,"
Or "I love you," or
"I
whatever.
love you,"
But
something.
he doesn't even have to say it.
Yeah,
No,
of
just "I know."
I know.
And then he takes the
F
saber
yeah.
and chucks it into the water.
I can't believe that. Both times I saw that movie, it
Yeah.
got the loudest applause.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's cool," but like people were, I guess, real Kylo shippers, like
Yeah.
real Ben, like were like, "Yes, Ben Solo is here now," right? Like, because that is what that symbolized. But like, I couldn't believe the applause in both screenings.
When we talk about this movie, harkening back to older Star Wars movies and using different lines and things like that, I think this scene best represented that aspect of this movie in just the "I know" moment alone, and even just the "I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it." I thought those two lines being called back were so powerful and so rewarding to see in this character arc, and I loved it.
Now,
I loved it.
Do you think they threw Harrison a buttload of money, or JJ said, "Honestly, man, this is a really powerful cinematic scene. It's not a silly space movie scene.
do you think
it's a beautiful scene?"
So you think
and
Harrison Ford cares enough about Han Solo to do that?
Well, maybe, or he just cares enough about being in something that
Beautiful.
resonates, and maybe he was, as an artist, he was like, "I would love to be a part of that scene."
He does
for
have
sure.
he does have an earring, so I guess that makes him an
No,
artist.
I also think though that I think Harrison's opinion Like obviously he was like you said, he was adamant about wanting to just be removed from the movies. You know, okay, keep me alive.
But he doesn't. He's not proud of them. He
No.
hates those. Even
No,
though they
no.
made his career, he's never talked positively about Star Wars ever.
I think this actually comes down to more of like a respect for JJ.
Cool.
And I think that you know, he's written this element. It's like, listen, I think this is a pivotal moment, like you said, for the character. Revisiting this moment, you know, would you be willing to? And I think also the fact that Carrie Fisher wasn't around, you know, you know what I mean? Like that kind of might
maybe
have like
I'll
eased him.
do this.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. Right. Like,
So now do we go to the crash landing, or do we get the ships, the Falcons fixed, and our heroes take off to get back to the Rebel base?
I was going to go to the scene that happens right after, which is with, this is again, I don't know what we're at in terms of numbers, but this scene is like a
this
huge
is a
F
big.
you
This is the
to-
biggest, I think, in my
Yeah.
opinion. This is the biggest, and probably final.
Yeah.
Screw you, Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's this whole interaction.
The whole dialogue, everything.
When she's destroying the ship, she picks up the saber, she goes to throw it, and of course it's
A
caught.
hand catches
A
it.
hand catches it, and it's Luke stepping out of the flames. And the first thing he says to her is, "A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect," or something along those lines.
But he says it in a way that I think he's joking. You know what I mean? Like the way he subtly says it, I don't think he's saying it in an angry tone. He's saying it in a way that like, yeah, I remember when I threw it off the thing.
Right.
You know, because he says,
Of course,
like,
but it's
he
not
says,
how
like-
Luke says it. It's the fact that he says it.
Right.
The fact that it even happens is significant, I think.
Exactly. I think you're right. He has a more jokey candor to the way he
Well,
says
yeah,
it.
where was this cool-ass Luke in the last movie,
Right,
man?
Right.
Well, he had to die.
No, he's cool kind of in his one line to Kylo in that fight. But the rest of the time, I would have preferred this Luke in Episode 8. He was still reluctant, but like, I don't know. It's just this was Mark Hamill being the
Yeah,
Luke he wanted to be.
But what you were saying about the cadence of how he said it and how it was jokey, I think it's actually like, it is very jokey in the sense, I think it's more insulting to what he did in The Last Jedi, right? Like,
But I think because he also continues on to say, you know, I was wrong, right? And what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Like, she explains to him that she's exiling herself as well because she's afraid, right? And so he explains to her like, no, I was wrong, and I failed, and I learned from that failure. You have to learn from it too, right? In
you know
so
what the
many
translation of that is? Episode 8 was wrong. It failed, and we learned from it.
yes,
I might be stretching, but
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think that's the literal thing. Like, but
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
But it does.
But that's how I'm going to read that scene for the rest
Yeah.
of my life.
because
I love that Luke failed. I love that the hero
But
that
how did he
everyone
fail?
he failed Kylo,
Right.
he failed Ben,
Right.
And he failed Rey.
and he failed Rey, and he failed so spectacularly, and he hid himself away, and I like that. I love that, and I'm sorry to all the people that grew up with Luke Skywalker, because I guess I didn't, right? I didn't grow up with Luke Skywalker. I love Luke Skywalker. I love his character, and I love the original trilogy. You know, I love Empire as my number one movie. We'll get to that, but Luke Skywalker, to me, failing didn't hit me as hard in the feels as I feel it did so many people that thought, wow, he really wasn't the hero that I want him to be. And I'm like, I love that because it's so real.
I have to say, in my most recent viewing of of Last Jedi, Luke's story and Luke dying wasn't my issue with that movie.
Good.
It wasn't what
I'm happy to
bugged
hear
me
that.
about it.
I'm happy to hear that.
And it works for the story and how he can, and how it all comes together.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a lot of JJ doing this scene and how it all comes, and the story, like he takes it and goes, fine, we're going to run with this.
Right.
Maybe it was part of the plan. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that isn't what bugs me about that movie anymore. So I just thought I'd let you know.
I'm happy to hear that.
You know, and I like a broken hero that needs to like find the thing. And I think the lesson out of The Last Jedi too is that failure is still something that can be taught.
Yes.
and that's what you learn from.
100%. That's that whole Yoda moment, right?
Absolutely.
And then he gets to have. It's so cool. He gets to have that moment with Rey now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
In
And
this exact moment.
But you know what? The way he sits down, looked just like how Ghost Obi-Wan sits down in Empire to talk to him.
Oh,
I
cool.
thought so. If you
Very,
watch,
very casual,
it's just the way he
nonchalant.
sits down. It just looked exactly like
Cool.
Obi-Wan
I like
did it.
that.
I wonder if he really tried to channel that. I don't know.
I do think though that there was a bit of trying to not necessarily undo, but just change the representation of Luke. Because I think like to Nate's point, like the last time we saw him, he was very, anti everything. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, but until he came back and did what was right and
Right.
faced off with Kylo.
right.
So then he says, I need to give you something. And she goes into this cave and opens up this drawer. And she opens
She
up this
removes
thing.
she removes a stone
she
from a
removes
wall.
a
Yeah.
stone from a wall. And she, it's a drawer. Whatever. I don't know.
It's a stone in the wall.
I think it was a drawer. Okay.
Stone
right
in the wall.
Right in if you...
100% stone in the wall.
Yeah,
Okay, so she removes the stone from the wall, and she pulls out this thing in a cloth, and it's Leia's saber.
Well, it's a saber,
Right.
but we find out.
She says, Leia's saber.
Oh, does she? Okay, my bad.
She literally
my
just
bad,
says it.
yo.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's so cool,
You guys are good at those details.
Yeah, she's...
well, that leads
Honestly,
us,
there's 3,000 of them, so
there's-
we're all
but
going
that
to catch
leads us
different
into
stuff.
that flashback, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And so let's talk about that flashback. So we get that flashback of them, of Luke explaining
He's
to...
narrating over it, right?
to
Yeah.
Leia or to Rey that he trained Leia in the ways of the Force, which makes complete sense.
Yeah, this is what we all thought would happen after, right?
Right.
She would embrace it, and yeah.
and it's not like her being Force sensitive was something, because we talked about this when it came to that moment in The Last Jedi where she Force pulls herself towards the ship. She has her Mary Poppins moment, right? It makes total sense that Leia would be trained by Luke. Like if you had a brother or sister
well,
that
they
was
were the
Force
only. They
sensitive,
were also the only ones left. Somebody,
right? So
you know,
he had to continue
Yeah.
it on,
Yeah.
and so he explains to her that she laid down her saber
on her last night of
on
training.
her last night of training because she knew that it would lead to the death of her son.
Well, I do love that she beat him too in their spar. Right,
Yes.
he's on the ground and she's standing there, and
Yeah.
then goes, "You know what? I could do it, but I can't because I've seen."
Now, what did you guys think of the visuals? I mean, we've seen this de-aging done before.
Well, that
What
Mark
did-
Hamill was
Luke was
definitely
way
more,
too young.
Yeah, that was more New Hope to like Empire. It wasn't anything after.
no.
It
Return
was
of the Jedi.
pre-car accident, Mark Hamill.
Well, it was just. And,
Didn't he have a car accident?
He
Wasn't that
did,
it?
yeah. That's why he was dinged up. And,
Yeah.
but it was just he was too young.
Yeah.
Like he was younger than he would have been even in Jedi, let alone however many years it would have taken to train Leia after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would imagine it's probably like a 2 to 3 year window there.
And then I
where-
thought Leia looked fine, but I mean, her eyes were a little
It was
uncanny
wonky.
valley,
It
weird.
was weird. It wasn't as good as the Rogue One Leia, which wasn't even that good, I didn't think.
Right.
Yeah, I also think that the lightsaber battle, I liked how Leia looked super badass. More martial artsy style.
You could tell
than
she
it
was more powerful than Luke.
Yeah.
They picked the wrong one to.
Yep. Put their bet on.
But I mean, it's only because, circumstance that Luke was the one that ended up getting trained and not Leia, right?
Right. Absolutely. So from there, where do we go, guys? Where are we off to?
Well, she is now convinced that she needs to go to Xanadu. What's it called? Exegol.
Xanadu.
But she can't go. She's destroyed her ride.
Yeah.
And he says, there's still a way. She goes and pulls out this.
Well, he has that really cool line that is pulled from episode 8, where he says,
everything
"You have everything you need."
Right. So she pulls out the Wayfinder.
Yep.
And then.
And she also
But she needs a ride.
She says in that moment as well, 2 were made.
Right.
It's a kind of a weird throwaway line because she's kind of like 2 were made, and then it just cuts, and it's like, why did you say it like that? But, yeah. Anyways,
So she needs
Luke-
a ride.
yeah, Luke
and
lifts
we've seen this. We saw this in Last Jedi.
Yep.
And
And
we saw it
It's
under
good to
the
bring
water.
it back. So he
cool.
lifts.
Now
lifts
it
the
makes
lady.
sense why he didn't come.
Yes.
Why he didn't fly himself there. Also, he would have been blown to smithereens in 8 seconds had he actually been in there in person.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's.
but how cool was it that again we get to see him at his most powerful, but he had to go through all this failure and die to get to that place where we could then see him do the thing that he could never do in Empire Strikes Back.
Another stupid fan comment. Like, people really bug me. Why didn't she do it? She's so powerful. Yeah, because that would really be.
No.
You're missing the point sometimes,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes more sense that he would do
No,
it.
we finally get to see Luke get the friggin' X-wing out of the water,
Right,
man.
exactly.
We've
We
been
talk
waiting,
about fan service moments. That was definitely a fan service
So
moment.
good.
Of course.
But it was a good one.
No, but
It was
that-
it was
but
a
it made
meaningful
sense.
one. It wasn't
was a
just for the
meaningful
sake
one,
of like
yeah.
how cool is this. It was
Exactly.
this is a powerful
Exactly.
and just the music. I'm trying to remember the tune in my head, but it is that just
It's the same song that they played when no, it was the same song that they played when Yoda pulled
Exactly,
it out.
yeah.
The exact same song.
Oh, cool.
Right? So it's again, everything kind of harkened back to that exact moment where Luke couldn't do it, but Yoda was able to prove a point, right?
And now Rey is about to fly in her master's old X-Wing, the X-Wing that Luke probably blew up the Death Star with, flew to get trained by Yoda in, probably arrived, I mean, I don't know where it was, like how he got to Tatooine oh no, it's the one he flew back to Dagobah to train with Yoda and Jedi in. Like, this ship is a huge part of our lives, and now it's going to go to the end. It's going to take her to the end, man.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, it's cool to see a ship like that get so much reverence. I mean, we're so many people are so gung ho on the Falcon, right? To sort of see this ship kind of come back.
But it's not just an X-wing,
right?
It's Luke's X-wing.
Right, exactly.
So she puts the helmet on. She flies to Exegol, and then
she's got the Wayfinder.
She's got the Wayfinder, and she knows the way to find what she needs to do. And she then it cuts back to our rebel friends, where we get to kind of see the.
Well, we see the team kind of work towards, they need to find where the Emperor is.
Well,
right?
yeah, because so Dio has important information.
Right. We
And
get that line of dialogue between Finn and Dio where Finn's like, "What's your name?" or whatever, and then Dio explains that Ochi, I almost called him Mochi. Ochi was originally going to
Oh yeah, he was. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, so he was going to Exegol to return Rey to Palpatine alive, and that's when they start to clue in that Palpatine doesn't want her dead. He wants her alive.
Yeah.
So she's walking into a trap.
But there's important information. And then, so what is that when they decide they need to go there?
Well, no. So the information that they're able to find is that they know the general area of where Exegol is. But then what they find out is R2 comes in and says Luke's X-Wing is giving off they've sensed Luke Skywalker. They pull up on the map his X-Wing and they show.
There's something else here. I think, doesn't Dio tell them about the gravity or something like that? Like, how do they find out about the gravity on the planet and how to destroy the towers?
So they plug into Dio, and Dio brings up the map, but then Rose, who studies, she's done all her homework, and she comes over and she says, and says it's not complete, or no, it is a complete map, but how it doesn't show us how to get there. And they start going off on the fact that there's gravity wells and things like that.
Yeah, this is the important information. We'll get the map there because they say, okay, we know how to defeat them, we just don't know how to get there.
Right.
But yes, this is the important thing. Dio gives them information about the gravity, and they go, all of these ships must be controlled by a tower that's navigating them, or else they won't be able to take off.
To fly through.
And they go, okay, we're going to destroy that tower.
Yeah.
That is our shield generator of this movie.
Yes. There's the important part.
And then all of a sudden, R2's getting the transmission.
Right.
C-3PO, who has now been restored, minus his... the 1 day, right? That's what we lost from it.
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh, I'm going on my first mission with."
What do you mean? I already went.
Yeah. I thought again, for as much as I wish that maybe that decision to bring him back wasn't made, I did really think that was a funny moment where he's like, "You're gonna stick what in my head?" and it just automatically cuts to that, like in a really not even a good cut, like just a very poorly done cut, right?
Abrupt, yeah.
And then just cuts to him being restored.
But so now this is where R2 comes in and 3PO's like, this guy's messed up. He's getting transmissions from Luke.
Yeah, and like they discover
and Poe's really smart and figures that out.
No, has to be Rey, right?
Yeah.
So and that she's literally carving the way for them to be able to get there.
Yeah.
So they decide. Hey,
I even had somebody. Okay, well, if it was so hard for Rey to get there, how did the rest of them find her?
Well, because her ship.
They showed that. Yeah. They showed her giving them the map.
They justified it. They justified
watch
it.
these movies, people.
Yeah, exactly.
At least watch them more than once, like we did.
Yeah.
So
I still caught that the first time. That one's pretty obvious. That's a pretty big plot detail.
So they then find out that Rey is showing them the way to navigate Exegol, and
they know what they need to do, but they don't have enough people to do it.
No, they don't. So they send good old Lando to recruit some helpers. on the outer rim.
Because this is the whole message, right? If you give people hope, they will join you.
And there's this beautiful scene of them kind of all prepping the ships to get ready to go to
Exegol.
It's
cool. They're flipping bags
right?
and jumping.
It's like really cool. It almost feels, I don't think it was a one shot, but it felt like a one shot.
It was kind of
It was a one shot,
yeah.
right? Where they're kind
was a
of
tracking
navigating
shot.
through.
They did it twice. They
did it on the planet there.
At the end when they all.
Well, I think they did it when Poe was walking on the Zori Bliss planet. When he's first walking in the hood and you're seeing all the raids going on, that's a one shot too. Yeah, they do it a few times.
It was really well done, and I like that moment where you just hear that voiceover from Poe, and just explaining how we all have to do this together, and
because I loved how earlier he was like when we put out a distress signal on Crate, nobody came.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a big underlining point. It's like no one came, so they really felt like they were on their own, right? And you could see when
there's more of us. I love that.
Yeah, and you could see when Poe says like, people will come, like everyone they show that angle of everyone, and everyone's like, I don't believe that.
We skipped over the Chewie learning that Leia's dead as they return, right?
That was emotional, eh?
That was probably the most powerful for me. Just him breaking down, right? And it wasn't just Leia. He's now lost Leia and Han, and 3PO was gone at that point for him. Luke is gone. Like all of his friends are gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, where were we?
We're on X. Well, Rey arrives at.
All our heroes take off. You see
and this is something I didn't catch the first time, but yes, you're right. You see the Falcon.
The Falcon goes one way, and all the other because the Falcon's going to get the backup, and the other ships are going to Exegol.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. So we finally get to Exegol. Rey finally arrives.
Like she comes through that red twisty portal we see Kylo fly through, and then you just see the fleet, and it's like,
and it's all lifting. It's getting ready to go because 16 hours is almost up. She basically walks the same path as that we had already seen with Ren when he arrived to Exegol, right?
There's probably only one entrance.
Yeah, one door.
She went in the front door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she gets there, and she stumbles into, I guess, the new throne room.
Yeah.
That's essentially where we end up.
Well, this is so cool, right? The chair's empty, but then you hear the home, like the chants, and then you see the followers, these like tens of thousands of Sith followers there who helped the Emperor come back and who built his fleet for him and stuff. These Sith loyalists.
Well, I'm wondering if there's any relation to the creatures, because the second time watching it, I caught just a glimpse of like one of the creatures that was in the opening by
the hooded guys.
The hooded guys, but they looked very similar. I just noticed this in the second time, but they looked very similar to the people that Ren was killing off at the very beginning.
I don't think so.
I think it might be.
Those guys had like almost like Asian style bowl hats. These guys were cloaked, hooded figures.
I'm just wondering if there's a relation between both of those alien races being Sith, some sort of Sith.
But I don't even know if they are alien races. I pictured them being humans in black robes.
But I think to Justin, to your point, like if the Sith Wayfinder was in that village, like yes, you're right. Could they maybe have also been
some sort of?
But they were protecting it from anybody being able to find it. Whereas Palpatine, that's why Kylo was killing them off, I would assume.
Yeah. Maybe.
Whereas the Emperor wanted Kylo to find him.
Sure. So we get our first interaction. Well, I guess our first and only interaction with Palpatine and Rey. I can't remember the first line he says to her.
I don't know.
Something about
long have I waited.
Yeah, long have I waited. Yeah, I didn't want you dead. He makes it quite apparent right off the bat. I didn't want you
I've been using Kylo this whole time to get you here.
So you can, assume the responsibility of the throne.
Yeah, and so what he wants her to tap into her hate and strike him down so that his essence can carry on over to her. Yeah, she will be Empress Palpatine, the granddaughter he's always wanted.
Yeah, and he alludes to, obviously, the fact that it's not just him, it's all the Sith. Right? Like,
well, he is the embodiment of all of the Sith, which is going to be very important.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I love his look in this movie. Like, if we haven't talked about it enough already, like just the lighting and the milky eyes. Like, big shout out to Ian McDiarmid for just killing it in this movie.
Well,
I
I'm
think
glad
he
it
did such
wasn't just a
good job.
rehash of the character, right? It
Yes.
was
different.
It was an evolution. It
Yes.
was it was really cool.
You know what I noticed the second time, and it's surprising I didn't notice the first time though, was the big, large, like huge pole apparatus.
Oh, you didn't that it was
connecting.
dangling from? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I
very
didn't realize-
mechanical and
I-
gross.
yeah,
you know,
like,
yeah.
I
don't think he
realize-
had half of his body. I think he was missing.
That's what
his
somebody
legs.
said to me, is that he's even missing his legs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why he needed it, as well as it being the life support system.
Right.
That's what I figured it was.
Yeah.
He just couldn't walk.
It felt
but
very Maul
Yes.
to me. That
I think
whole
that's what
idea.
I think for fans of that,
Yeah.
that was almost for you guys.
And
right?
we've
Like,
talked about in the past how Star Wars uses mechanical
Yeah, I was mentioning. Yeah,
body parts
well,
and things like
he's
that.
almost become his own form of Darth Vader,
Right.
right?
That's
After
awesome.
making Darth
Well, that's-
Vader, now
it's really
you
cool.
know,
that's the whole mentality. Like, there's a lot of things that people say online in terms of machinery in these movies is used as an entity to keep life,
Yeah.
right? To keep
Yep.
things alive. So
Yep. And then after that, once they have their little dialogue there, we cut back to space?
Well, I think our heroes, our team of small group of rebels arrive, and
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a big fleet. We are in some.
Welcome to Exegol.
Yeah.
yeah.
Welcome to Exegol. And I think that it's that classic Star Wars scene, just like in Jedi. You have this solo confrontation, and then you have this galactical confrontation.
Super Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to be the case. That
Right.
there was going to be a showdown with the Emperor at the same time as this massive.
If we're talking
space
about
battle.
things we were
and I'm
expecting,
like, yes.
Yes.
That is one thing.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that was
I'm
fine.
fine
I
with
was
that.
fine with that.
I don't. These movies have been recycling each other the whole time. Why wouldn't the ninth one just throw it all in a bloody blender?
Have we gotten to space horses yet?
Nope.
There was a situation where they see the tower,
Yeah.
and they catch on. The fleet catches on that
That
they're
they're
trying to
aiming at the tower.
They're aiming
Well,
at
yeah,
the
because
tower.
and like, the whole plan is that there's going to be an air crew, but
Yeah.
they can't blow up the tower for whatever reason. It's got to be done by a ground crew, and Finn's got it covered.
Well,
Right.
so what
Right?
happens? So to just clear that up, the tower would do it, but what they realized is that the fleet realizes that that's what the
No, but what I
resistance-
was saying is, for some reason, the ships couldn't just go and blow this tower up. It had to be done by a ground crew. And Finn says, I'm going to do that. And then as soon as they're going to do it, the command ship goes, they're going for that tower. We got to move it. And so our General Pride,
General Pride. He
he
says,
comes back and says, move it to this ship.
"Yeah, move it to our ship."
Yeah.
right?
And then
So
they're
that's-
like, okie dokie, we'll just do our ground mission on a you're going to do a ground mission on a Star Destroyer
Awesome. It was actually a really cool visual to see that happen.
that lands, and we all knew what Poe's plan or Finn's plan was.
Right.
He's got his horse friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting though that like the villains quickly clued in
Yeah.
to what was about to happen. They were like, "Oh, they're going for the towers. Okay, we'll move."
Yeah, because we're stupid and left
Yeah.
a giant obvious way to kill people, right? Or kill our plan.
Right. So let's remove the signal from that tower and let's apply it to this ship, and then
Which is
this
far
ship
more
will-
protected because they'd never be able to do a ground mission
Right.
on a ship, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we'll try.
And
Well,
then
they did, yeah.
Finn decides to change that course of action, and Jana sort of says why or something like that, or I think something comes up, and he goes, or how do you know? And he goes, I have a feeling, right? And again, we get
Well, because
further
he sees
confirmation.
he sees the ship, right? He sees the ship.
Well,
He
and I
says
like-
it's that ship.
And I
He
like
needs
it
to
like
attack that ship.
Finn being the smartest janitor of all time. Here's another thing he knows about, how the Empire or the First Order functions. He knows that if they were to be doing this ground mission on speeders, they would jam their signals and it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Well, what can't you jam?
A space horse.
Space
Right,
horses.
Space horse. So yeah, Finn and his team of, I guess, ex First Order people.
I love it, man. That's
Yeah.
such a cool idea.
Yeah, it was a good idea. I like that Finn had his own task of a mission that he had to handle. It wasn't about him being in another, fighter and being out there with all of them. He was leading another. He was being a general. He was adopting.
He was more important.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yep.
So then we cut to, I guess, back to Exegol, right? And we
Well,
see
the surface.
the surface
I
of
guess, yeah.
Exegol,
Yeah.
and we see Ben show up, right?
Wearing
And-
like a J. Crew sweater or something.
Yeah, I think I
that
feel
was
like
his
From
under,
Old
that was
Navy?
his, but that was his like under chain link armor from under his suit. Obviously,
yeah,
but
but
it did look funny. It looked
it
like
looked
an over.
very
Yeah.
J. Crew. I agree with that.
It could have been different.
Yeah.
but it was another way of them using a visual to say
this is Ben Solo
Ben
now.
Solo,
Yeah.
not Kylo Ren. To the point where like you can literally just do a costume change with this character, and Adam Driver's acting is so good that he's able to bring it, like drive it home.
Right.
Like I mean, he became so endearing with. He didn't even have a single line in the last. Since that moment, he didn't have a single line.
He didn't say a thing.
He
didn't
didn't say anything.
Except for the moment where he lands, he jumps, does that heroic jump onto the chain and goes, "Oh." It's so good.
I've a few reviews I've read said there's a lot of good humor, but it's misplaced. That didn't bug me. I thought that was a cool lightening of the mode,
When was
the
that?
mood.
That brought him to being human again.
Yeah.
Right. And then
I just liked it lightened the mood for one split second. It was of course you would say that. You just jumped onto a giant friggin' chain,
yes.
right?
And the
then,
little also like we'll get to the moment, but he does that bow before he takes him out, right?
Oh yeah, that's
We'll get back to
the
that.
chain when he jumps down the elevator.
when he's
like,
going,
elevator
because
shaft
the
thing.
elevator's
Yeah,
already. He can't wait for that elevator to come up all those floors, right? Yeah. And I think we're kind of going
So
back
good.
and forth. Now we go back down to Rey.
Yeah, this is a
Jump.
Yeah, and the Emperor, she's refusing to do it, and he says, he opens up the roof, and she sees her friends being blown up, and it's
So
like
that was very
they don't
much
have,
that was the Return of the Jedi moment.
Yeah,
Your friends.
yeah. And so, and he's basically saying to her, "You don't have much time. Strike me down. The fleet is yours, and you can stop this. But you have to kill me first and become the Empress. You have to do it. You have to make the pact and do it." And and she's tormented over this. And then we go back into space for a bit, and more people are blowing up. And then I think we go to Ben, and he's coming through the catacombs. He's making his way to the throne room.
Yes.
He's shooting people, like, not even looking.
Well,
going around
I was going to
corners.
say, the moment where he shoots backwards, I'm like, that's Han Solo moment right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
What a cool nod to his dad.
Yeah.
So good.
Like, he uses a gun. It's so sick.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's confronted, and this could have meant so much more if we had any reason to care about these 6 characters. This confrontation with the Knights of Ren could have been so much better than him just beating the crap out of people for a few minutes.
If we actually saw
in either of the movies, both guys screwed up by not showing them. This is on JJ and on Rian Johnson, and it's on JJ again in this movie for not having them do one thing to make them look menacing other than standing around.
Yeah.
We have no reason to fear that Ben can't beat these guys up.
At all.
Other than the fact that he doesn't have a lightsaber.
And also just the weird. So were they always loyal to Palpatine instead of him?
No, I think Palpatine said he's not Kylo anymore, or maybe they know he's not Kylo anymore, right? They can sense it off of him.
I think the scene would have had way more resonance of like importance if we could at least see more of the Knight of Ren doing something, but even just him leading them.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
any form of interaction with them.
Exactly.
Other than, me and the Knights are going hunting.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Yeah.
If we had seen more of that backstory in Episode 8.
Yes.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird to do it.
Yeah.
Because we just know that, like, we see the one flash in the rain in 7.
Yeah.
Nothing in 8.
Well, in 8, it's just there's
mentioned
a
that he
throwaway
doesn't.
line that Luke says he took a bunch of the students and left, and
so
they're obviously the Knights.
They're force sensitive, I guess.
I guess.
But they don't use lightsaber. Like, I don't know. They're just so
Weird.
underutilized. Why even have them?
even
Why can't
just-
he just be on his
Because
own?
I bought the whole toy set. That's why.
Oh, I know.
But
But,
even just what you brought up there, like the lack of clarity around who are they? Are they force sensitive? They don't use lightsabers. Like, there's no clarity around who these characters are.
they're a
and their
really
importance.
frustrating group.
Yeah, and they were very
And literally
underutilized.
all they do is to serve to stop him for 5 minutes and give us our final.
Well, you called it. You called
mind
it. They
meld
weren't going to
scene.
have any real importance other than to be killed off in 5 minutes.
Yep.
You said
I
Rey,
said Rey.
but it
I
ends
think
up
it's
being-
better that it's Kylo.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so they confront him. He's got no weapon. He's getting the crap kicked out of him.
Right, and at the same
Flash.
time that this is happening, we have
Rey
Rey
realizing she's seemingly like the Emperor at least thinks she's giving in. She's gonna strike me down.
Yep.
She takes the saber.
She
She lifts it
ignites it.
over her head.
Yeah.
She's got it behind her back, and then she kind of just
Magic trick.
boom, lifts her hand up.
But
It's gone.
did you guys notice in that moment like the sort of emotion in her eyes? Like, did you guys catch that?
What?
I guess she was really sad.
Well, no, like the emotion I feel like is that in that moment she was obviously looking at Ren. Right?
Yeah, they were
Like,
looking at each other.
at
They were,
Ben.
and yeah.
and she realized she wasn't looking at Ren. She was
No, she was looking at Ben. Ben's here. That's why she helped him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that not only that, that's why she was emotional about it.
It was so good. But then he has the saber in his hand. He does that little
He's like,
bow.
and now we begin.
Right?
You're
And it
gonna
was
beat
like-
me up,
and
eh,
immediately
boys?
I'm like, I love you, Ben. Like, where
know.
have you been all my life?
know.
Absolutely.
Adam Driver, kills
So
it.
going back to just one thing that I wanted to mention,
Yeah.
We talk about like that big space battle scene that she's being, shown by Palpatine. It's amazing though that he doesn't refer to them as friends as much as family.
Yeah,
Like
your
family.
new family is going to die because that's all she's wanted, and this was her
Exactly.
family because he knows they'll never be family, right?
Now, so yeah,
Well, now I think we go up to space, and it's
Yes.
really dire.
Snap Wexley
Snap,
dies.
like good on JJ, eh?
Yeah.
Not only does he bring Snap back,
Yeah.
because Ryan, for some reason, wouldn't want a familiar face in the Resistance to be in all 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like, what a dick move that is. It's Snap Wexley. We actually know this guy's name.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he's just not in 8. Well, he's not my friend.
Yeah.
And JJ's like, not only am I going to bring you back, I'm going to give you 2 funny lines, and I'm going to let you die in an X-Wing in a Star Wars movie, which would be everybody's dream.
Absolutely.
And that's when Poe really just is defeated.
Yeah.
It's like he's losing clarity,
Yeah.
and he's apologizing and giving up.
Yeah,
It didn't
then
work.
You hear Falcon on the radio says, "On your left." I mean, sorry, no. You hear,
no, I know.
you hear Lando
because
say-
there's more of us.
who's on the Falcon, who says, "Because there's more of us."
Yeah.
And then it's just that amazing Avengers Endgame moment of all those ships. I literally could not I couldn't take in how many there were. There was just the whole screen was filled.
It was crazy. This was their Endgame moment,
100%.
right?
100%.
And then the first ship you zoom into the cockpit of is good old Wedge Antilles.
Yes.
Back to fighting. And
Dennis
save
Lawson.
the day again. Yeah.
Still
was awesome.
kicking it. Still killing it,
And
Very
that was
cool.
really the only person we specifically see. I was
see
wondering if you were going to get your ghost shot, but they didn't do it.
No, they didn't show us any of the members on the Ghost. The Ghost was there.
Yes,
But they didn't,
apparently.
we didn't get to see Hera, which is who I was hoping for.
You see, Zori Bliss is there.
Zori Bliss is there
Babu
flying
Frick.
through. Babu,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just, where's the plush?
And then they basically, Poe says, okay, we've got a limited window here. We've got because has Finn blown up the antenna yet? Or no, the things are firing up, I think. These engines are firing. I don't know.
So what I think what happens is they blow up what they needed to, but then they still need to take the ship down because they're going to be able to get it back up and running.
Yes, that's right.
So
yeah.
he and Jana, they end up venturing off to set up, I guess, the cannon so that they would be able to blow up.
The grounds crew that got them there is all leaving. Rose says, "Come on, we're going," and Finn says, "No, there's something I got to do." And she says, Jana says, "I'm sticking with you." I think she realizes. And,
Yeah.
And then, they start blowing up the world-destroying cannons on the
ships
bottom of the
ships.
ships.
Are attacking all of the cannons.
And a good old Imperial design. You shoot something and the whole thing blows up, right?
Yeah.
And then we go back down to the throne room. Ben comes in and is with Rey.
Yep.
Did you guys notice the guards that were surrounding them? They didn't really put too much emphasis on them. I noticed them.
I thought they looked
briefly
like
in the first.
They were
looked
old, like
Imperial guards.
Yeah,
the old red guys.
But it's
yeah.
just crazy though that they're like.
Because I love
they
that the
just-
Emperor's like, I'm not changing the design of my stuff, man.
Yeah.
The Star Destroyers are going to look the
Yeah.
same. My guards are going to look the same.
Yeah, these worked. If it works, it works.
I thought it was interesting that like they were there. There just wasn't that like I guess a focus on their entrance or who they were, other than just figures for them to battle, right?
But in a really cool way, man.
Yeah.
Like flinging blasters mid-air and doing like 90-degree
bolts
twists with them. And like,
force moving bolts, like lightsaber bolts, like deflecting them with their hands. I thought that was so cool. Like it just shows how much more powerful these Jedi are, how much more powerful these Force users are at this moment in the canon. Super cool. So then they both ignite their sabers, I guess, and they have that cool look to each other, and it's cool because they, again, them being a dyad, they do it at the exact same time, and it's really well shot.
but then,
Palpatine figures it out.
like, wait a minute.
He starts to shock them,
Yeah.
and then he looks at his fingers, and they start growing back, and he goes, "Hold on a second."
Was he shocking?
No,
them?
he
It
was.
looks-
He all of a sudden just starts sucking their life
Yeah.
force. It's almost like his body was naturally inclined to do it. And is it because he created that dyad between them that it was something because it benefits him.
But I think he was not surprised by it?
was.
Oh, he was very.
because
Oh
he-
yeah, I don't think he did it intentionally.
Okay.
This was just his way to get them to connect with each other, so he could get him to eventually bring her to him.
Yes.
But
He
then
didn't
all of a
really
sudden
care
he
about
goes,
Ben.
"Holy cow! What have I done here?"
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh.
Right.
And that's why his plan shifts
Delicious.
from going into Rey to like, "Oh, I'm just gonna suck the life essence out of you two and be more powerful than
Right.
ever."
Okay, so that makes sense. Like for me, that was like a
It-
big,
it-
like weird.
It
again,
took
that was
two
a-
viewings and a lot of going, "Okay, what is happening with his plan?"
And I think that was like the other fake out, I guess, if you will, like what the plan was, and then it's just like, oh no, wait, there's another plan that can work.
Yeah, I think
right?
it's just he stumbles upon this happy accident that
Yeah.
these two can-
Serendipity.
yeah,
Yeah, and then he sucks the life right out of them and takes full form.
Yeah.
Like that's
And his
pretty
eyes
nuts.
come back. You get to see the
Yeah.
red in the eyes.
I was
again,
surprised
or
his
the
face
orange.
didn't heal up a bit more, but his fingers were back. All of a sudden, he's walking on his own two legs.
Yeah,
like,
his legs grew back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like again, that's
He unplugged from the life force machine.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
hopped down.
And then so he says something in lines of like, now the two have become the power for the one and
Yeah.
only emperor. And then he does that incredible, just like the whole theater just boom, like just explosion of lightning coming out of
it was
his hands.
scary. I was so loud.
I jumped the first time.
You know what's funny too is because online I had seen a leak of that exact frame.
Really?
Of that exact frame.
yes, I think I remember that.
I showed it to you,
no.
Yeah,
and then
she
I was just
did.
like, this looks fake.
yeah.
It looks so like it was photoshopped in. The throne looks so big. She
Yeah.
looks so small. And like literally when that happened in the movie, I was like, oh shit, that's a real scene.
The light when you do the overhead coming down on him, it's
Yes.
just so like one of the coolest looking things I think I've ever seen. Like the lightning looks cool and alive,
And just that single stream coming up from the center of that square of Exegol or whatever this place is, and shooting up, and then just hitting none of his ships, but all of the rebel ships. So just that
think about it,
intentionality.
the two most powerful Force users of all time have now been absorbed into the previous most powerful like he's now
Unreal.
triple powerful, unlimited power.
So all their ships start falling through the air, and it seems like all hope is lost.
and Rey's just looking up, seeing this.
well, actually, before that, Ben gets force thrown into, and it's cool. He has that line.
It was. This one felt a bit forced
Yeah.
for me, like just like I fell down a pit now, or fell down a hole. Now you shall
the last
too.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
So I thought. I mean,
I
it was,
get it, but it was a bit hokey the way he said it.
Yeah. A
But
little
still
bit
cool.
on the nose.
I
It's
think
still
the
cool.
I think the Emperor is a bit hokey in general, but
yeah.
yes,
You're right.
and then we have that moment. Rey is just laying there, on her back, looking up at all this horrible situation that her new family is in. Not just her new family, but literally everyone they've just
Literally the
recruited
entire galaxy
is
everybody
falling.
in the galaxy who isn't a bad guy is falling to their deaths.
She then transcends into a starry.
It was really
starry
cool.
night.
She's looking at it and seeing this, and then it just zooms up through all the ships into the vastness of space.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool. She was looking beyond the fear and terror that she was seeing in the sky, and she was looking into
That's cool.
Yeah.
into the the unknown, and
She
just,
pushed past the fear, which is what she
Exactly.
was
Trying-
struggling
Always
with
struggling
so
to
much.
do. Yeah.
exactly.
And she hears all these voices.
Yeah, and these voices are.
I have the whole
endless.
list. Do you have the whole list?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. We'll go off together here. So we hear not one, but both Obi-Wan Kenobis, both Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness, saying,
got Qui-Gon
"These
on
are your
there.
final steps. Rey, rise and take them. Rey, rise."
Anakin Skywalker, Rey, bring back the balance. Rey, as I did, the Force surrounds you. Rey, let it lift you.
Now, before we continue, as I did, bring back the balance as I did. Is Anakin trolling her at this point? Because did he bring back the balance? I'm trying to understand.
Well, he did, yeah, because he killed the Emperor. So at one point he had brought back the balance, right?
okay,
he
I
fulfilled
understand.
the prophecy and did it.
I guess hearing that invader's voice in my head would have made more sense, because when I think of Anakin, I'm still thinking of Revenge of the Sith, and so I'm thinking like, is he being like, as I did, because I did such a good job?
No, yeah. This is
Okay.
old man
Thank you.
bald Vader.
Thank you
Yeah.
for fixing that, but it's still Hayden Christensen's voice.
Yes.
Then we get Ahsoka Tano from Clone Wars. There she is, and she just says Rey.
Kanan Jarrus, also from
Rebels.
Oh, from Rebels. Yep. Rey, in the heart of a Jedi lies their strength.
Luminara Unduli, seen in the Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. She's got a speaking role. She says, "The light, find the light, Rey." Oh, my favorite.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh.
Every Jedi who ever lived lives in you. We stand behind you, Rey.
He had the most important line, I think, out of all of them, right?
Yeah, he's explaining it to
Yeah.
I love I love Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon.
There was not
Qui-Gon
enough
was my
Qui-Gon.
Jedi as a
Yeah.
kid, right? Like he was,
Awesome. Ayla Secura, who's in Revenge of the Sith, she says, "Let it guide you," and then another really awesome one.
Mace Windu. Feel the Force flowing through you, MFer. No, I'm good. Sorry, we'll scratch that. And then Mace Windu comes in with "Feel the Force flowing through you, Rey."
Yep. And then Adi Gallia is in Clone Wars. I can't recall who she is. She just says, "Rise, Rey." Another really important one next.
Yoda, "Rise in the Force, Rey."
And then the final, Luke Skywalker. "The Force will be with you always." It was just
Sick.
I just wish, you see, what would have been cool is if they had done the exact same thing they did in the trailer, where it was Luke who started that line, and then Leia finished it with "always."
I have a theory for why Leia wasn't even a part of that.
She's not a Force ghost.
She's
yet,
not one with she's not one
right?
with the Force
She's
yet.
just
at
the
that point.
body. She's just the body.
Yes, because I had
I
the
wondered
same,
the exact same thing.
yes,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And literally watching it today, I was like, no.
She's
She's not
yet.
yet one with the Force.
Because you're right, it would have been better, but
Just
it
like how
couldn't.
Ben
just
couldn't
the
do
last,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then so she just sort of stands back up, and you just hear Palpatine just kind of says, "I am all the Sith." He starts shocking her, and she holds up her lightsaber and blocks it, and starts pushing, and it starts pushing back, right? And then
She Force grabs Ben's,
in
I
a,
guess,
in
right?
a very like sort of again Avengers Endgame. So it flies back. You hear it for a few seconds, and
That's when she says that
into her
line.
hand,
Yeah.
And then "I am all the Jedi" holds them both, pushes it back, starts melting off pieces of his face.
That was a sick death, man.
right.
That was a great death.
So good. And he's definitely not coming back.
No,
from that one,
he
right?
just got pulverized. Yeah.
Yeah, he got pulverized. A lot of people online were saying, like, okay, well, she killed him, then shouldn't she have somehow absorbed him? And I think the difference is that it wasn't in an act of vengeance that she killed him.
It was in an act
defense.
of defiance and in strength.
Right,
and,
exactly.
Yes, and in hope.
Yeah, so I think I think a lot of people read
And
a
I
lot
think
of-
to absorb you would want to. She wouldn't want any essence of him.
Right. And
You would-
also
you would choose
and
to
also
do that.
he wouldn't have given it up at that point, because at that point
Sure.
he was all powerful. He didn't
okay.
need her anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for her to kill him in that moment it was actually even so much more powerful for our hero to do that in that moment, because he was so much more powerful. Anyways,
And then so I guess and so all of our ships,
yep.
the systems go back on.
They're all activated again. They're like, okay, this is literally the final chance for us here. And
They start blowing up the cannons. The Star Destroyers are going left, right, and center. And then Finn knows that he wants to destroy this main ship before they can activate the signals, right? Because it was going to take them a few minutes to boot up the tower.
right.
And so he knows that, and so he knows he's going to die doing this. They're going to die, but this is him and Jara's. Janna's like a chance to get revenge for not what they just did to them, but to all the kids that they forced to be stormtroopers. You know, I just thought it was really cool. And again, I think so with this scene, they start shooting up the control room or whatever it is, and it blows up and it goes all the way up to the control. This is a sick scene, eh? Like where they're panning by the room and everyone's running around in slow motion,
And you
then
see General Pride run towards the window, stop, and then it just cuts to a faraway shot. Boom! Blasts. Then you see him like flying through the air.
And this is what I wanted to say earlier in terms of the strength of his performance,
Yeah.
that he isn't in it much, but it's satisfying as hell watching him get blown up and killed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And
I
it's
mean,
a really cool way to do it.
And I also think he represents every single one of those
All of those, the Tarkins,
generals and Tarkins and Moffs and things like that.
Right.
He is the culmination of that
Right.
in this saga, right? So
Yeah.
cool. Then what?
Well, then, it's celebration.
Well, no, I guess for them, but no, we go back down to Rey, no?
Yeah, we
go back
jumped
down
over
to
a big
Rey,
part.
and this has killed her essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It took
dead. She's
everything out of her, and she dies.
And Ben comes out of the cracks.
I love that shot. You're panning around the ground, and then just his hand comes out of the crack,
Yeah.
and he pulls, and he is mangled, man, because he gets tossed down that friggin' hole, like smashes a leg here, back against the wall, and then into the abyss. And so he's like, it's taking every ounce of last bit of strength that he has to hobble his way over to her.
Yeah.
And you can just see how devastated he is when he picks her up and she's not moving, and he flops her on his lap, and
Yeah, it was very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But he then goes through the process of, using the Force.
You sort of see his body language change, and he's like, I know what I need to do.
Right.
I know what I have to do.
Yeah, he knew that he had to
And
do.
he knew what it was going to cost.
Right. He knew what it was going to cost? You
I think he knew, because she's dead. This isn't just healing. You're not just sharing some life force. You're sharing your life. You're giving her your life.
Yeah.
So then he Force heals her.
And Force revives her.
Force
almost,
revives
right?
her, and then she comes back, and there's that amazing. Again, can't talk enough about the acting, but just Daisy Ridley, just Ben, and just that smile that she has, and they share that moment, and then they kissed. What do you guys think about that?
Down. I was ready for them to ship as evil Dark Lords in Last Jedi.
Yeah. I was fine.
So I thought this was really sweet, and I think maybe the way it was done was okay with me. But I was a shipper of these two all the time. I would have been fine with it.
I think
and the way they did it.
I think what I liked about it, some people are kind of upset by this because they felt that the Last Jedi established more of a familial bond between the two of them, a brother and sister-esque bond. Not saying that they were absolutely brother and sister. What I liked about this was that it kind of subverted expectations. It harkened back to the brother-sister bond of Luke and Leia, right? But on a romantic side instead of a familial side.
No, you're not saying that right. You're not making that sound good, I don't think.
They had that connection.
But I didn't. But when they were in the throne room, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, like, I don't think the connection really mattered as much for Leia and Luke until Jedi, right? Like, that's where it kind of became. But the whole point of their connection, of Rey and Ben Solo or Ren, is that it's been built up throughout, right? Like it's a little bit more
like, not in Force Awakens. They're
Sure.
pure mortal enemies, but in that scene where he's asking her to take his hand in Last Jedi, I was shipping them getting together as and it was this angst of romance, not of come join me, my sister. It was like I know you feel about me, like that's why they did the shirtless scene. It would be weird if he's like, "Hey sis, what's going on?" No, that's why they did this. That was to establish, I think, or else why the hell did Rian Johnson? Yeah, or else why did he have him be shirtless? You know. But so I always personally felt that romantic wanting, but
I
they were
agree.
Mr. and Mrs. Smithing on that ship, man.
Yeah.
When they were doing that battle,
So then they kiss, and then
He smiles and dies.
he dies.
Oh.
Yeah, but he dies happy.
Oh yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he dies happy.
And man, have you ever seen that's almost as fast as Obi-Wan Force Ghost, eh? Like he just
instant.
his J. Crew sweater just poof.
And it cuts back to Leia and Maz seeing Leia's
And the sheet goes
disappear.
And Maz smiles. She knows Leia didn't realize or want this to have to be her destiny, but it was, and it came true, and it was for the most important cause there ever could be, right? To save the galaxy.
Yeah, that's
and Ben went home.
Moment.
Ben went home.
So then they get back to the Rebel base, and they're all celebrating, right?
Yep.
And
Super Return of the Jedi vibes, baby.
Yeah,
Very
we
much.
get some
Super Return.
glimpses. Like we see Wicket. Is it Wicket that we see?
Well, yeah, because they say people are standing up
All
or
around the
rising up
galaxy.
all around the galaxy.
yeah, you just see a little Wicket.
Yeah. What was it? I could have sworn Coruscant was destroyed.
It was Cloud City.
That was Cloud City
Yeah.
with that first. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cloud City.
And like what my brother noticed, I still haven't. I'd need a third watch. Is that somebody did a holdo through the Star Destroyer? It looked like there were the streaks of that sort of light speeding through the ship. Somebody
interesting.
Kinda cool.
sacrificed themselves to take them out. That's cool.
That's interesting.
But that scene gave me the same kind of chills that I had the first time I watched Jedi as a kid and went, this is my favorite movie ever, and nothing will ever take that away from me. That party scene, the feel-good vibes, it was coming to an end.
And then there, you see Finn sort of walking through, and everyone's sort of embracing each other.
His facial expressions, like the happy, crying relief was awesome.
But
I thought
he's looking for Rey, and he can't find her, but he's also happy that everyone's finding each other. There's that amazing moment with Poe and Zori, where Poe kind of looks over and like,
well, she gives him the nod,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Nod."
And then,
wait,
we gonna do this?
No.
No. And then he's just okay.
They are totally gonna do
100%,
it. Just not today, Poe. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We're tired.
So after the celebrations,
Yep. Well, we have that amazing moment where Rey it cuts back. We finally see Rey get back to the planet in the X-wing. She jumps out of the X-wing, and your brother Darcy shouted this out, and I also noticed it as well. But I love the fact that the first thing she does when she gets off that X-wing is she runs up to BB-8 and checks his little antenna. And it was just so...
That's adorable, yeah.
Such, again, JJ paying attention to those amazing little moments of this bookend for these characters' relationships. It's just so cool.
And now, before our final important embrace, we get two moments. One amazing, one I didn't love so much.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the one I didn't love so much. You've got Lando sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
Jenna.
You know, where are you from, General?
Yeah.
For, like, what a question to ask somebody in this
that
time.
moment, yeah. And then he says something.
I'm from the gold system, or
Something
whatever
like that,
it is.
yeah.
I'm from the gold system, and then where are you from? I don't know. Well, let's find out.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't say it like that. He says, well, why don't we find out? Because he's Lando, and that's how he talks.
Yeah,
but
it
also,
doesn't. It comes
if
off
you're
weird.
her dad, don't talk like that.
But is that what they were
Billy
implying?
D. But
and
like,
how would he know this?
But maybe and maybe not. But then at the same time, like, if not, is he trying to like?
Why don't we go on a space adventure together, baby?
I don't know.
Like,
It felt weird the way the line was delivered. It didn't feel.
I think it comes back to the point of like, what was the point?
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of that scene?
Yeah, I didn't.
For a comic book or for a part of an animated series. That's what it was for.
Sure,
100%.
okay.
100%.
The Calrissians.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it's going to be. Yeah. And then
They're so the embrace of the three of them.
yes.
Whoop. We're still missing my tearjerker.
Okay.
What was that?
Maz comes up to Chewie.
Oh yeah.
Come on, guys. No. Maz comes up to Chewie and says, "This belongs to you, Chewie.
Yeah.
You should have this."
Yeah.
And
Now-
she hands
Go ahead.
him Han's medal.
Perfect. Now here's the thing. Han's medal. That's the important part because so many people are getting upset. Comic book
I
readers.
said it right after that first viewing. I
Right?
know people are gonna whine about this because he's already gotten his medal.
In the comic books, he got a medal, right? But this, I think, again, cutting back to the moment where we see Leia holding it, obviously, and maybe this is part of a deleted scene or what have you, but Maz takes the medal, Han's medal, and gives it to Chewie. The only thing I wish in that moment that I think would have actually affected me more and would have cleared up the whole situation would have she just literally just said, he would have wanted you to have this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even have to say Han. Just he would have
yeah.
wanted you to have this.
Yeah.
Right.
And that would have literally just made that moment so much better.
Yeah. But I think it is there.
it's
Again, it
unfortunate.
took a second viewing, but when you see that Leia's holding the
Yes.
medal, you know it's his. And then
We
when
piece
Maz
that
has,
together.
we can piece
Right?
it together, but it wasn't.
It needed to be more
It
direct.
could have been a little neater, yeah, but it was still beautiful. And then I love even at the last pan, you see him showing it to 3PO, all
really?
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's
it's,
so
it's
cool. I didn't
adorable.
catch
Yeah,
that.
that's
That's
the
so
last thing you
cute.
see of Chewie is like so happy. He's so happy. You know, he finally, after all this grief he's gone through in the last 3 movies, he's finally happy and at peace.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then we get to the final embrace.
Yeah, the final embrace of the three of them was I heard that was actually real.
I bet you that was when I watched it the
Last
second
day.
time, that was their last day of shooting.
You saw the photo that JJ tweeted on the last day of shooting.
Yep.
And it's interesting, though, because if you look at that photo, it looks like they're on a sand planet. So clearly, like, a lot of the area around them was green screened or what have you, or that was just photoshopped in a way to make sure that it didn't give away that this was the ending of the three of them being together.
Right, because if you watch this movie, you see them on this jungle planet, and then
It
all of a
doesn't
sudden
look
you're
like
like,
that
wait a
photo.
minute, I saw them hugging in that planet.
Correct.
Right, it wouldn't make
You see the exact pose, but it's definitely a different planet. In the
But
background.
yeah, the
you're right.
raw
You're-
emotion.
You're right, though. I think you might be right. It might be from a different day, though, because. But I think the raw emotion
It was
is what
like
it
Finn
felt
is
real.
he's
Absolutely.
like that's John Boyega crying because that journey that the three of them had gone on. Like that's how you film a scene like that.
Yeah.
Several
So good.
shows and movies you hear about them doing. That's how you
Well,
do that.
I think it raised the bar too, because like you referenced Jedi and that sort of thing, and it was very. I guess you could say it's very kid friendly. The way like everyone's very happy. Oh, we won the war, kind of thing. This felt so like, wow, we just went through a lot.
It was
and-
so.
That was the culmination, and it is
Yeah.
over now. I mean, it was over after 6,
Yeah.
but if we're gonna go again for another 3, now it's over.
It was
you know,
so lovely, and then it just fades to black. And then
we see the X-wing fly into Tatooine.
Tatooine
this looks a little familiar.
Flies
she
over-
flies over the Jawas.
Yeah,
you know,
and you
get
get Teeny. Yeah, you get a new teeny. So they squeeze the new teeny in, which again I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh God, that's too much.
No,
Right?
Too much. That was what threw it over.
You
No.
get the hell out of here.
So Rey heads back to the Lars homestead and buries the sabers. The two of them. She does that call back to TFA when she slides down the side of the hill.
I
Yeah,
thought that was really cool.
I loved how the score incorporated just that little
That
bit
moment.
of that music.
It was good. And then buries the two lightsabers.
Yep.
And then she reveals her own lightsaber.
Which was so cool. Like it looked like her staff. It was wrapped in like
And it had a
scraps of
dial.
fabric.
I like how it
Yeah.
had a dial that turned it.
Yep.
Turned it on.
And it was yellow. This old woman comes out with this weird tall donkey, and she goes, "Who are you?" Who are you?
Ray.
Ray. And she goes, "Ray." And she goes, "Ray who?"
Knock knock.
Yeah, right. and then she says it.
well,
Well,
she
she
sees the ghost.
Right. She looks over.
and she sees the ghosts of Luke and Leia. She turns back and she says, "Ray Skywalker." So this is
And then she walks over. Twin sons of Tatooine.
with her droid next to her.
BB-8 rolls up beside her, and it's
Yeah.
just like.
It's perfect.
It begins where it
So
started.
I
My only
loved it.
thing was why bury
love that
Leia's
moment.
saber as well at Tatooine? Tatooine meant nothing.
Well,
to her.
you couldn't bury it on Alderaan.
Yeah, that's true. Very good. Good point. Good point. I guess it's more or less the family
That was
lineage.
that was the Skywalker
family king
household.
comes from-
Yeah.
Well, that's our walkthrough of the movie. This is a bit different for us, but given that so much happens in this movie, this is the best way to digest this entire film and really talk about all those little details. Now, before we wrap up, given that we saw all 8 movies prior to episode 9, I would love to know what your ranking is of the 9-movie saga. Kev, let's start with you.
Oh, I get to go first. I honestly, it took me 2 viewings. The first viewing, I was just too flabbergasted at everything that had happened. After this, I am officially going on record as saying this is my favorite Star Wars movie. I love it to death,
Really?
and I will close it at that.
No
I
way.
love this movie. It's perfect. It is my new Jedi because it is so much like Jedi, and I'm perfectly okay with that. This whole saga is cyclical. It's repeating itself. It's familiar notes,
Yep.
and this does it all in one movie. It combines it all. It closes everything I've ever needed closure to. I mean, I even got a goodbye from Han Solo that I didn't
Right.
get when he fell to his death. Like,
Right.
hells to the yeah. I love this movie. It is literally perfect for me in almost every single way except for that stupid dagger. This is a 9.8 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
And I don't care how wrong everybody thinks I am. That's just where I'm going with.
Can you, because I love out of 5, can you give me out of 5 ranking here?
Well, what did I give it?
4.8, I guess.
No, I gave it a what? A 10 point.
You gave it a 9.8 out of 10?
So it would be a 4.9.
4.9.
4.9 out of 5.
Wow.
4.9 Star Wars out of perfection. I don't know.
Nate, your final thoughts.
Yeah, so, who are you? Rey Skywalker. I love that. She forged her own path, and she decided who her family was. Like, I think there's parts of me that wish they had stuck to their original idea that she came from nothing and still became the most powerful force in the galaxy. But I think the Palpatine revelation works as well because it shows that it doesn't matter what your lineage is. You can still forge your own path and be a force for good instead of evil. And too often we're told that we're limited by what situation we're born into. So the Rey Palpatine connection proves that this isn't so. And I believe that the original idea of Rey coming from nothing, it's more exciting for me because it contrasts the life that I have, right? And that's why I think I will always defend The Last Jedi because it's I was born into a wonderful family and I was always encouraged with optimism, but I was never a nobody. So seeing someone who is a nobody raise the ranks, come up through life and become the most powerful Jedi in the world, I just thought was more exciting for me personally. But I'm glad that this movie ended up with an overall moral message, even if it wasn't the one that I necessarily wanted. Going into this movie, I didn't know what to expect. After watching it the first time, as I said, I was a little underwhelmed. And I think I would have given it a 3 out of 5. Seeing it the second time, definitely a 4 out of 5. 100%.
My final thoughts. So as I was saying before, I first time viewing it, I thought there was a lot of information that was being thrown at you right off the bat, right from the crawl, scene after scene. It's just like, let's get this thing moving. It was awkwardly paced upon first viewing, I found. Watching it the second time, though, I didn't have any of that. And I kind of, that's why I kind of lean on Nate's idea that maybe the marathon experience is what hindered it.
Yes.
But I don't know. I was more rested. I was definitely far more excited, or not more excited, but just as excited as I was when we watched it. And I think that after watching it, the pacing wasn't as bad as I thought. There's still that entity of like things being thrown at you very quickly. But I get it, and I think that's not based on JJ. I don't think that's based on the idea of what he did with the film. It has everything to do with the fact that this is a big task. You're closing out a 9-movie saga. You're ending the Skywalker saga. That's a big task, and especially when the movie that was before it didn't really do much to set up for what these elements needed to be. So it's not at the fault of the filmmaker. At this point, like everyone's criticizing, at least from what I've been reading, is criticizing the idea that it's very rushed, it's very incohesive, like there's just missing pieces, there's plot holes. I think that that's more attributed to the idea that this needed to wrap things up and package it well so that it could just give it a nice send off. I enjoyed the Palpatine revelation. The only thing I think that I would have much preferred is that because he was so powerful with the Force and he talked about life and bringing life into things, that was more the route they went with her lineage rather than just he had a son, because like I said, it raises more questions in my mind.
Yeah, which this movie does a lot.
Yeah, it does. It and that's what I think it answered some big questions, and it definitely raised other questions, and we've kind of outlined that in that whole process of what going through this movie. But I think overall, like my score would definitely be a 4.2 out of 5.
Okay. Going with a point system.
Going with a point system.
There you go.
You got it, man. You can't do round numbers. That's a rookie score, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it for the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Our review. But now I just quickly, we've seen all 9 movies.
Yes.
We watched them all
in a row.
In a theater.
Well, and everybody's seen all 9
right.
at some point, and if you've seen this now, exactly. It's where does it rank overall?
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone has a ranking system for the Star Wars films.
That's kind of been the fun part about just the last 20 years,
right? Is
that you constantly every few years, whatever it is, get to change your ranking of the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I agree. So that being said. Mm-hmm. Who wants to go first with ranking their movies?
I would love to go first. I'm actually shocked. I have been saying for 25 years of my life that this was never going to change. Number one for me was always going to be Return of the Jedi. It's my favorite movie. I think it'll remain my favorite movie, but it is not my favorite Star Wars movie anymore, and I'm shocked to say it. I just think for something that's been so powerful in my life and such an important part of my life, this was the closure I'm happy that this is how they did it. I love how J.J. Abrams did Star Wars. I wish he did the whole trilogy.
Yes.
I really wish he did the whole trilogy.
Yes.
And I think that's the only thing that holds this trilogy back from being something really, really special.
Like absolutely perfect.
Yeah, because I think Force Awakens is amazing too. But so my order goes from top to bottom or from last to first? How are we going to do it?
Last to first.
Okay. And even this is going to be some controversial stuff. Now, the prequel trilogies would never move from the bottom, but my order is probably a little different than everybody else. The worst movie, not only in Star Wars, but in maybe cinematic history, is Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Yeah. The second, so then in 8th place, I'm going to put Revenge of the Sith. An improvement on Attack of the Clones, but still not my Star Wars. None of these movies feel like the next 6. And then the third worst, the best of the prequel trilogies for me, Phantom Menace. It's the most Star Wars-y. It's a young boy discovering where he comes from. They go on a space journey together. There's a really cool villain. There's great lightsaber battles. You get pod racing. You get Duel of the Fates. Qui-Gon Jinn is incredible. I like the most out of this movie of these prequel, and so I don't care what anybody says. This is the best of the three, in my opinion. Then we go into Last Jedi, my absolute least favorite of the six left. Then I go to New Hope. I understand the importance of A New Hope. I understand what it's done for not just this franchise, obviously, but for cinema in general. But it is a clunky movie with wooden dialogue. It's really slowly paced, and it is a simple as hell story. Not very much happens. It's fantastic. It started it all, but it's not that good of a movie. And again, my rankings aren't necessarily on what are the best movies, cinematic-wise, but what are my favorites. And so this is down there in the 5th spot. In 4th spot, Empire Strikes Back. I know, really low on a list. I love it. It's the best Han Solo movie. Mm-hmm. It's a great story. It's amazing. It's probably the best Star Wars movie, but it's not my favorite. In 3rd place, Force Awakens. I love this movie. It is damn near perfect. I have a few issues with how it ended, but up to that point, watching it again the other day confirmed, yep, I love this movie. In 2nd spot, the old number 1, again, probably my favorite movie of all time, Return of the Jedi. And then in the new number 1 spot, after that first time, I didn't think this was possible, but I love this movie. I wonder if it'll change it when I see it a third time next week. I don't think it will. It's damn near perfect for me in terms of a closure and achieving an impossible task of ending this 40-year journey we've all been on together. Number 1, my favorite Star Wars movie, Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
That's the most mental list of all time, I know.
Deep. Jeez. Deep. Okay. Well, I definitely am surprised that it moved your top. I was thinking maybe something in the top 3, but your top movie?
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Nate, what's your order of ranking?
So we're going from bottom up. Bottoms up. Well, speaking about the bottom, Attack of the Clones is the worst movie in the Star Wars universe, and also just not a good movie in general. There's literally, I think, maybe 2 moments that I like in that movie, where like the Colosseum scene and maybe the fight on Camino with Obi-Wan and Jango Fett, I thought were great. But other than that, the whole movie is literally just a setup for what the animated series did so fantastically, which is actually stretching out this war and showing us the ins and outs of what war looks like for all sides. But I thought that, Attack the Clones, you literally, Justin said it the first time we went to go see the marathon for The Force Awakens. He said, you literally just need to wake up for that last part where Yoda goes, "Begun, the Clone Wars have," and that's all you need to watch. The next one for me, The Phantom Menace. I really like The Phantom Menace. I think it's a really fun movie. I think it's really endearing. I think that they achieved something really special, and it was actually my first Star Wars movie. And just to really quickly touch upon this, I know we don't have a ton of time, but because the next group is coming in to do their review. But The Phantom Menace, we went to the IMAX theater, the Colossus in Vaughan, for those who are familiar. And the Colossus in Vaughan looks like a giant spaceship. And this was my inaugural, at least of the last 3 movies, I've been doing this each time, bring my dad to the Star Wars movie, which was super cool for me because I've talked in other podcasts and about just my experience of seeing these movies with my dad at this point. And I remember, when I was little, going to this theater at the age of 9 or 10 and thinking, I'm going to go see a movie about spaceships inside of a giant spaceship, because the Colossus in Vaughan is shaped like a giant spaceship. And it was such a special memory for me to have my dad sort of nudging me on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, you see that guy, that cloaked guy? Yeah, that's the Emperor. That's the main bad guy. That Palpatine is the main bad guy." And I'm like, "Shut up, Dad, you don't know anything." And it was so cool to be sitting in the theater nudging his shoulder all these years later with a movie kind of just finishing off the saga. So it was a great moment. Phantom Menace is fantastic. Next one, Revenge of the Sith. I think Revenge of the Sith is the best, personally, for me, of the prequel trilogy. I like it because it's just so dark, and I think Sometimes it gets too dark to a point where it's like campy, and it doesn't need to be that dark, but I like it for what it tried to do, which is to be a dark movie and ending sad and ending with that slight flicker of hope, but for the most part, and because we know where it's going, but for the most part, I loved everything about the darkness of that movie. The next one is Return of the Jedi. For me, I've never connected with Return of the Jedi personally, and again, this could just be because I didn't grow up with the original trilogy Star Wars, so a lot of it I found a little bit forgettable, and I just didn't connect with that movie personally. The fifth one on my ranking here is The Rise of Skywalker. I thought that, again, this movie does so much right. There's so much that it attempts to do and then explains with clunky choices of it's the Force, or it's just this is needed to make the story go forward. But the amount of heart this movie has and what it does to close off the trilogy and to close off Rey's storyline, that moment at the very end with the two sons literally just took that movie and raised it up to me to make it a fantastic film. So I really, really love that. Number 4 is The Force Awakens. So TFA, The Force Awakens, coming back to it, again, I don't think there could be a more perfect love letter to Star Wars. Like, if Star Wars is a love letter to cinema and storytelling, The Force Awakens is a love letter to Star Wars in itself. So I love that. Number 3, The Last Jedi is in my number 3 spot. I connected with this movie a lot more. I loved how much Rian Johnson subverted expectations. And I know that's a pain point for a lot of fans, but I actually really loved it. And again, maybe the fact that I love Revenge of the Sith and I love The Last Jedi might go hand in hand, because they both are very different movies from the ones that they're surrounding. But I just loved the story of failure and the idea of failure, that your heroes can fail and that it's a thing to learn from. I just think it's a really powerful message that unfortunately I don't think was carried into the Rise of Skywalker as much, but what they did bring into it, I think was, I appreciated it for sure as a fan. Number 2, A New Hope. I just think you can't beat original Star Wars except with its sequel, which is my number 1, Empire Strikes Back, which will always be my number 1. That movie's just so entertaining. As a movie in general, it's on people's top lists. And I'd love to be one of those people that says I'm different than everyone, but I'll let my love of Last Jedi achieve that for me instead of Empire. But yes, Empire Strikes Back is my number 1. Justin, your rankings.
Well, I gotta say, I got a bit of both on, like, my rankings kind of match a bit of both of yours. So my least favorite of the 9 is Attack of the Clones. The movie is garbage.
What?
Just kidding.
How dare you?
The movie is absolute garbage.
How rude.
It's absolute crap.
It's just, it doesn't do anything. It's long. It's boring. It's just nothing. Number 8, Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
While there's moments that I kind of enjoyed, and I think it was actually more the interactions between Palpatine and Anakin before he actually reveals himself as the Emperor. I was really intrigued by that, that sort of luring into the dark side. I like those moments. Kev, my number 7 is Phantom Menace as well. I think the thing that really stood out to me when we were younger, we went and saw it, is kind of the same stuff that kind of comes from Force Awakens. It was just that Force Awakens did it better. But it is that familiarity with the story, the adventure, all of it, right? It just felt like it was the one that felt the most like a Star Wars movie out of those prequels. So, revisiting and rehashing some of those themes, Phantom Menace does it pretty well. Number 6, The Last Jedi.
Nice.
Garbage movie.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that. Okay, so...
Are you sure?
No, number 6 for sure. But I think the thing that there's moments that I appreciated. Like, Rian Johnson's a very talented filmmaker, and the way he kind of structures tension in the movie, mixing scenes, showing different moments, but they're all kind of happening at once. You see the characters, there's a craft to that, to like really make you feel those moments, and then there's just like this pause and this breathing. You just kind of take it all in. specifically referencing when they split the lightsaber. That's happening in conjunction with the Holdo, gearing up to like do the light speed and the ship's trying to escape. Like you see all of these interesting moments that are happening and the tension that was in it.
Yeah, there's lots of really great moments in the movie.
Yeah.
There's lots of really cool moments. And again, inventing or starting the mind meld thing is a great thing that comes in very important in the next movie. And again, I don't dislike it because of Luke. That is not my issue anymore. Just sitting there watching that movie, I didn't enjoy myself. I didn't enjoy it. It was a slog to get through.
Yeah,
I would.
It's
It's so dull and dour. Star Wars, man. Let's have some friggin' fun.
Yeah.
And Canto Bite didn't add that element of fun. It was prequel cheesy. It's just not a fun movie. And I'm watching Star Wars, not
Yeah. I think my biggest pain point was that, after seeing The Rise of Skywalker, is that it just didn't do enough to really kind of set this up. And
I would agree there. Yeah.
I also think that this should have been a more cohesive, creative idea. Like if JJ wasn't going to direct, like, episode 8,
he should have at least worked with.
Oh, he should have written it. He should have produced it. He should have. Well, I think he probably produced it. But anything that would have allowed the bigger vision, because that's the big problem I think I have with this new trilogy.
That's what these are missing that George had for the other ones.
Exactly.
Was a solid storyteller with a solid vision.
No matter what you think of the prequels, right? At least they were still
consistently crappy.
No, but there was a consistent story.
Through line.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, Last Jedi number 6. The Last Jedi number 6.
Sorry, one really quick thing. I don't think we're supposed to necessarily have fun in a movie that is about a storyline about failure,
but it's Star Wars. We're supposed to have fun in a movie called Star Wars,
right? And I agree with you.
This isn't Shakespeare. This is Star Wars.
But I think that's the thing, Justin. I think you appreciate the decisions made, the storytelling, and the craft in what Rian Johnson does. But I don't think you agreed with it.
Oh no, not at all.
Cool. Keep going.
Yeah. So and also best lightsaber battle is in The Last Jedi, in my opinion. That throne room battle is
agree.
Epic. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. Love this movie. I think it went a little too campy for me, though, personally. Like, and it's not just the Ewoks. I think it's just more even just the acting performances. I get that they were all very comfortable with each other because they have gone through 2 movies where they've gone through, success, struggle, and now they're here on a new mission. But some of the acting felt a little campy to me, a little more upplayed. It kind of happens as a formulaic thing with like Hollywood movies. It's like they get amped up for like performances. So that to me was one thing that, yeah, exactly. And it has nothing to do with the Ewoks. I like the Ewoks.
I love the Ewoks.
Yeah, I thought they were fine. That's not my problem. I think the biggest thing was more the performances. Number 4 is A New Hope. Very fitting. Episode 4, A New Hope. I love this movie. I agree with you. It's a simple story. It's very, it's very clunky, but I think I also appreciate the behind the scenes of how that movie got made.
I like that better than the movie itself.
Well, yeah, and I think that it's like the small movie that made a big success, right? Like it made waves, and I think that it established a lot for what the power of first fiction stories within film, but like just fantasy based sort of stuff, like seeing that sort of meld into film. A New Hope did that really, really well. I think it just, in my opinion, like really transcends fantasy space and all of that. Because of course, after this, everyone just tried to replicate their own Star Wars, like space opera drama, and nothing was very successful prior to, I guess.
I love how simple A New Hope is. I know that you mentioned it might have been too simple. I love how just simple it is, and also visually, like watching it in the theater. And I know we were watching like maybe a special edition or whatever it was, one of the millions of special editions that George has done.
Right.
It holds up visually, like it really. All these movies.
That's the most impressive thing about the movie is that it's so incredible looking, and it's better than special effects that come out this year.
Right.
The practical.
That's what I'm saying. The original trilogy is better looking than the prequel trilogy in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it holds up more.
But
practical is always going to beat
practical. Yes.
Crappy early stage CGI.
Right. Number 3, Rise of Skywalker. It's definitely now in the top 3.
Cool.
I enjoyed everything about it. Like I've said, it was a bit clunky, little fast paced at times. But I think that's attributed to just the the fact that the filmmaker had JJ had a lot on his hands that he had to do. And what do you expect? You know what I mean? You're closing out a nine movie saga. You got to wrap things up. This movie could have been 3 movies. It should have been. That's what it was, I guess, essentially for. This new sequel trilogy.
Yep.
But this movie alone could have been at least 2 to 3 movies, right? Like just to kind of get all that explanation through and exposition.
Honestly, if you took some of the elements from 8 and then combined it with the first half of this movie, you would have had a perfect trilogy.
We would have had a perfect one, and would have left us wanting, like, at least I left The Last Jedi more confused and like, do I really want to see another part of this? But then, once JJ got attached, that signed everyone up for it. Force Awakens, number 2. I absolutely love that this, adopting all the same tropes as like A New Hope.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a soft reboot to Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look at it, like, it's because it is so familiar to like things like A New Hope, and it adopts other elements. It's almost like reintroducing people to Star Wars, right? And what this new trilogy, and it was a great way to kick it off. I saw that movie, like, I think that weekend we saw it like 3 or 4 times. I remember there was one time that we went and we just didn't tell anyone, and we just went and watched it. And it was like our 4th time watching it over the course of like 3 days. Absolutely great. And then that is followed by my first movie, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
100%.
Typical.
No. You know what?
95% of people's Star Wars lists are going to have Empire. You know what? It might be a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the things that I like about it is, it is like the quintessential sequel.
It's the best sequel ever, probably. Other than Godfather 2, maybe.
Right. But like, I like that. I think
it's better than Godfather 2.
So do I. Godfather 2 is boring.
I've never seen any of the Godfathers.
No.
Go ahead.
With Empire Strikes Back, I think it's not just the idea of it being the sequel, but it's also what it sets up. Obviously the quintessential cliffhanger of just the realization that he is his father.
Well, it's the best movie revelation maybe ever. And it's a striking cliffhanger, both in terms of what's going to happen with Han. This is a huge thing for, like,
our heroes failed in the second movie. It wasn't about heroes winning. It was about heroes.
Nate really likes failure.
No, and that's the thing. I do. I also love to cry. No, but I also think to your point, Justin, like, Empire being that moment where, again, we get to see like Luke struggle with like his inner darkness, and the cool thing with Empire is that it develops Luke so much more than what anyone would have expected when watching A New Hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Honestly, it is the best Star Wars movie ever, and will now, at least in this saga, it is always going to be the best Star Wars movie ever. Yeah. Hands down.
And I think I think it goes without saying, this is a tricky thing, because the original trilogy you can't ever touch, and the prequels obviously will never touch it. This new trilogy, it has
Abrams
the nuances.
tried, man.
Yeah, he tried, and I it just kind of got off course, and it's fair. You have other things that you want to do, but and it's a big commitment to want to stick with Star Wars for what it's been, 2015 to 2019. It's 4 years of your life you would have to probably 4 or 5 years that you'd have to probably dedicate to just getting these movies done.
But it's not like he did anything else.
Right.
But you got to give it to the sequel trilogy for getting at least one of those movies into our top 3.
Yeah.
In a world of trilogies.
Yeah, that's true.
They made it in.
Yeah.
They replaced one of the original trilogy movies.
True.
For all of us.
2 for me.
2 for you, right?
And not only that, like, for me, it's it's in the top 3. Like, Force Awakens is in my top 3, and it's my second. It's my second favorite. Like, you know what I mean? Before that, it was.
Nate just doesn't like J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, it was definitely.
I love J.J. Abrams.
I think before.
Have you guys heard of a show called Lost that J.J. did?
Oh!
Dude, it's so good.
All right, well, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed our Star Wars filled episode. It's Star Wars filled.
This was more exhausting than the marathon.
Yeah,
You
I
think
think so. Yeah,
I hope not. I hope not for our listeners.
I certainly hope not either.
And make sure to write in to us to let us know what you thought of the Rise of Skywalker. Maybe we'll get a chance to read some fan
100%.
reactions.
Anybody else out there who loved it as much as I did?
We'll have to wait.
Or
and
am I
see.
alone in the world like Ray?
And Justin, where can they write in?
Well, they can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. So be sure to check us out next week. We're going to be sharing for our last episode of the year our top 5. Is that what we're thinking? Top
Yeah,
5?
I think we're going to do our top 5 favorite movies of the year.
Okay, top 5. And then we're also going to be still talking about Star Wars because we have to finish
Our watch club.
Our watch club.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed our episode for today. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We are Geekcentric, and you can be too, which means you can also check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. Follow us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT, and follow us on Instagram at We Are Geekcentric. Nate, Kevin, thanks so much for letting me host this episode. I know it was a long one.
Oh, boy.
Appreciate it.
I look forward to doing it again, hopefully in 2020. And as we say,
Love ya.
Get home safe, guys.
Peace.
May the force be with you.
Always.